In APAC, Vietnam's top dog LG Divine held their lead for the second week. However, they weren't as explosive as they were in the first week. LG Divine won 5 chicken dinners in week 1, but were eliminated in the early stages a lot during the second week. Buriram United Esports and Fury are chasing right behind Divine. I think I saw this happen in PCS too. Buriram United Esports is a team that has always been in top 3 throughout PCS events. In the second week, they've been overperforming and have the momentum of winning 2 consecutive chicken dinners for the last 2 matches. Will they finally seek a chance to take the throne? Fury lost the first place in PCS 2 APAC due to an official tie ruling. They're not the team who always shows explosive performance in matches, but rather play smart, stacking up points to maintain high ranks. If they can win more matches though, they will be more likely to win the championship. Let's not forget Division X Gaming, who clutched many great plays with long case support, and Charper Esports, mostly consisting of former Golden Cat members, who are both following closely. Let's see which team will win the championship in APAC. How was the second week in Europe? Europe, as expected, is a very intense region. Digital Athletics, Tornado Energy, and Northern Lights are still in the top 3 teams in week 2, even though their rankings have shifted slightly. Team Liquid has put in the effort to rise the ranks and compete for the lead in second week. Digital Athletics is showing amazing performance so far. It's a team that breezed through the open qualifier and they have a great potential. They enjoy sending themselves on tricky situations, but they also stack up points steadily and have finally topped the list. Tornado Energy, who finished first in week 1, was briefly knocked to 4th place during Bay 4, but rebounded after a 16-kill chicken dinner victory in match 3. Northern Lights have been showing really stable performance for the entire 2 weeks. Even though they slipped a bit on day 4, the gap between first place is only 10 points, not a lot. Who will be the winner of the last PCS of 2020 in Europe? We won't know until the last day is here. PCS 3 has only 1 week left, and this is how the Pick'em Challenge looks so far. Are they teams that you've picked? The last week of PCS 3 starts on November 19th. Check out which teams will become champions in 4 regions. I'll be back with the next weekly PCS. Bye!
我觉得可以下来了，队长来，打头了，走，左边，走，右边。反斜了，跑到去反斜了，倒了，牛逼！右边有房，在左边有没有？有，看到了。注意，不一定要尝试的，兄弟。6.4，倒了。先拖着，我要回去，我根本抢不见。 帮我注意一点的。OK， 没烟了，我夜里3打1，3打1。准备。
그 위치 방해해 주려고 왔습니다.
일단 탱크만 넣었어. 탱크만.
조금만 더 오른쪽으로 갔으면 큰일 날 뻔했습니다 한 번에. 와 지금 소수 교전으로 지금 엔투스 아프리카 플렉스 요리하고 있어요.
이거 케일이 온다는 거예요. 케일이. 케일.
진짜 오젠 엔투스가 인원
아,
배분하는 게
해결
올라오고요.
올라오면서 오히려 여러 가지 수를 다 차단하고 있습니다.
와, 한 번 더 해볼 수 있는 공간 자체가 있었는데 초반쯤에서 계속해서 저격해주면서
야!
3위를 만들어내가요.
케일이 혼자 하고 있어. 케일이 혼자.
아니,
케일!
와,
진짜 쓰러지나요?
와! 에? 你那个是有枪吗？
大家都在车上，什么意思？飙车！
哦，李叔是有枪的，你那个是没枪的，只能跑。
帅气这一枪。刚刚旁边好像有辆，
他就先去把那个摩托。哎，卡德维，
直接爆头。
แล้วสกอร์ยิงตัวปิวๆแล้วตอนมา
ว้าวว้าว
แล้วสกอร์ส่งไปเม็ดเดียวเฮดช็อตแล้วไปสาดขึ้น
あ、これマルチサークルゲーミング来るか。
2人にセッタ3人抜き。
これ
そして
場所バレてるんじゃないかな。
中国代表マルチサークルゲーミングは
あ、これ
笑ってるよ
入る。これジグレで通る。
ジグレですか。
いや、今持ってたんで、これで
なるほど
これで活気にまで入りますね。
ティアンブからの車線もさらに通っていました。
はい。
耐えてくれ。
うわ
サマーこれはタンクがサマーをぶっ飛ばした。これは日本代表と絶対本当に大変さ。
何もしてないけど。
何もしていません。
Obviously, Grimmel's very unlikely. Oh my god, Orange, you lucky boy. Keep your head down, boy. Oh, dearie me. Did they see him? I don't know, but James is yeah, it looks like James is going to see him. There is not much playable area here. Oh my god, it's a mid-air.
Very confidently from here now. As you can see, the circle is not doing anybody any
What
favors.
am I
Oh!
Solid nade onto Aliyah, but the vehicle is burning. Out of it we go, and it's time to run. Please don't crush him, no!
Hi, this is Annie of Weekly PCS. Did you enjoy watching the events in last week's PCS 3? Now that we only have 1 week left, here are last week's highlights to get you caught up for the final week of PCS 3. In Asia, Tiamba Esports finished week 2 and first on the leaderboard. Their play reminded me of their performance at Charity Showdown earlier this year. Tiamba was fighting back and forth with OG and Entus from Korea for the top spot. At the end of day 4, Tiamba was Asia's first place team in the second week of PCS 3. OG and Entus is still showing stable performance. However, if they lean into their explosive performance more, they definitely could be a team with a good chance of winning. Asia is highly contested and showing the fiercest competition among the 4 regions. The top 8 teams all scored over 100 points. Genji, the champion of PGC 2019, is still in 9th place, but fans saw a shining moment in Day 4 Match 1 when they scored a perfect chicken dinner, a throwback to the good old days. We're Alia Ghibli and 4AM are still bumping into each other sometimes, but both remain in the top 5, showing potential to win this event. Competition is more intense than ever in Asia. Which team will be crowned the PCS 3 Asia champion? Let's see what happened in North America in week 2. Guadalajara Gaskins showed remarkable performance, earning 106 points in the second week. They quickly moved up to second place. In the last match of day 4, Gaskins got 18 kill points and the chicken dinner, widening the gap with Oath, who sits in 3rd place. This team might sound new, but Nikus and Honey Badger have each played in the OC and NA regions, while Bosick is a veteran player who has participated in PGI 2018. Sonics, of course, is flaunting their consistency. They almost matched the same amount of points as their week 1 performance, proving them to be a steady team. The trust from PUBG Esports fans shows since Sonics currently has the most votes so far among all 4 regions in Pick'em Challenge. There's only a 25-point difference between Sonics and Guadalajara Gaskins, which is very close for the last week of PCS 3. Can Guadalajara Gaskins stop Sonics from winning 2 consecutive championships? Also, can Shoot2Kill and Oath show us their last burst of energy? Make sure to check out the final week. In APAC, Vietnam's top dog LG Divine held their lead for the second week. However, they weren't as explosive as they were in the first week. LG Divine won 5 chicken dinners in week 1, but were eliminated in the early stages a lot during the second week. Buriram United Esports and Fury are chasing right behind Divine. I think I saw this happen in PCS too. Buriram United Esports is a team that has always been in top 3 throughout PCS events. In the second week, they've been overperforming and have the momentum of winning 2 consecutive chicken dinners for the last 2 matches. Will they finally seek a chance to take the throne? Fury lost the first place in PCS 2 APAC due to an official tie ruling. They're not the team who always shows explosive performance in matches, but rather play smart, stacking up points to maintain high ranks. If they can win more matches though, they will be more likely to win the championship. Let's not forget Division X Gaming, who clutched many great plays with long case support, and Sharper Esports, mostly consisting of former Golden Cat members, who are both following closely. Let's see which team will win the championship in APAC. How was the second week in Europe? Europe, as expected, is a very intense region. Digital Athletics, Tornado Energy, and Northern Lights are still in the top 3 teams in week 2, even though their rankings have shifted slightly. Team Liquid has put in the effort to rise the ranks and compete for the lead in second week. Digital Athletics is showing amazing performance so far. It's a team that breezed through the open qualifier and they have a great potential. They enjoy sending themselves on tricky situations, but they also stack up points steadily and have finally topped the list. Tornado Energy, who finished first in week 1, was briefly knocked to 4th place during Bay 4, but rebounded after a 16-kill chicken dinner victory in match 3. Northern Lights have been showing really stable performance for the entire 2 weeks. Even though they slipped a bit on day 4, the gap between first place is only 10 points, not a lot. Who will be the winner of the last PCS of 2020 in Europe? We won't know until the last day is here. PCS 3 has only 1 week left, and this is how the Pick'em Challenge looks so far. Are they teams that you've picked? The last week of PCS 3 starts on November 19th. Check out which teams will become champions in 4 regions. I'll be back with the next weekly PCS. Bye!
The sun don't shine when you ain't here. I feel your glow when you get near. Need you now, I need you more than ever, ever. You are the air in my lungs.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the final weekend for PCS 3 APAC. We've already dusted off 2 regions. North America and Asia have concluded. They're finished, they're finalized. 2 regions remain. It's APAC, it's Europe to come this weekend. Of course, tonight we kick-started off with the APAC region. 8 games remain. Welcome on in. Of course, my name is Xenox. Joining me is the lovely Edge. 8 games left, Edge. We've got a very close affair as well, which is very, very fortunate for us.
Yeah, it's beautiful to see. Definitely didn't want a one-horse race coming into the last weekend, and the teams have been fortunate enough to bring us that.
Yeah, we've got ourselves probably the closest leaderboard throughout 2020 in the APAC region. Usually it's a runaway. In saying that, though, the end of PCS2, of course, was very, very close towards the final games. But with 8 games remaining, this by far is a lot closer. LG Divine, of course, the winners for PCS2 APAC, are looking to do what Sonics were able to achieve a couple of hours ago, not only going back-to-back with PCS wins, but getting 2 PCS wins in the 2020 calendar campaign. So far, Sonics the only team to have done that, but with 8 games to go, LG Divine is the next best chance to be able to match it.
Yeah, it's been looking pretty good for Divine coming into this weekend, being that far ahead, but no, bringing it back have been the likes of Buriram and Fury. They've made it a lot easier on themselves for this weekend, and be looking to stop Divine from getting that back-to-back win.
Quick little overview, the schedule at hand, and of course to what has been throughout the month of November. We are down to Saturday 21, so that's APAC in Europe. As I said, Asia and North America have the 8 matches overall, which is an incredible feat at 1.5 out of 7. But weekend 2, Edge, they didn't feature in the winners table at all. No chicken dinners for LG Divine, and because of that, and the 3 chicken dinners for Buriram United, that's why we've got such a close top 2.
Absolutely, and it wasn't Divine wasn't sort of kept out of it either. They were having good games. They were getting themselves some second places, some third places, but they just weren't able to close out, and that might have made it a little bit difficult for them for this final weekend. But they were definitely trying, and they were getting a lot of points as well to keep it a little bit more competitive against the top 3.
$200,000 prize pool, of course, a reminder for what the participating teams are playing for. And along top of that is the 12.5 equal share from the in-game sales for the Pick'ems, which I haven't seen the finalized numbers, I guess, coming into this weekend. I would imagine LG Divine, though, are by far the favorites in terms of the Pick'ems, with most likely Buriram and Fury next in line, unless somehow Unicorns still have their initial large set of votes getting them into that top 3. We'll go to the Pick'em challenges now, actually. So there you go. I was one step ahead of everyone. LG Divine, 73.3%, the heavy favorites. Of course, if you're watching this now, the Pick'em votes is closed. It's all locked in. Surprisingly, though, Edge, 1.2% for Fury, the team that tied PCS2, only missing out on the win due to, a third tiebreaker rule.
Yeah, it's a little bit surprising, actually, to have Fury there, because the previous PCS, they did come back so strong, but whether they can do it again, they are quite a substantial amount behind, I believe 21 points behind, so bringing it back for them is a little bit difficult, but Fury's definitely not a team that's going to sit back and just let Buriram and LG Divine fight for that first and second place. They're going to get involved.
I'm not sure if I would agree that 21 points is significant with it. With 8 games to go, that's actually not that bad. I mean, that's a 10-kill win, and you're basically dead even. LG Divine haven't won a game since the first weekend. So they're certainly there for the taking. And of course, for Buriram United, 12.6%, rightfully so. In fact, I thought it maybe could have been even higher, because they're only 9 points behind LG Divine. They're coming into this weekend with more form. They've won 3 games last weekend. They've won 4 in total. They're only 1 chicken dinner away from matching LG Divine for the 5 so far over the course of PCS3 APAC. They are a team that is a real threat to LG Divine. I'm not sure if 12.6% is really going to tell the full story there. Obviously, though, for LG Divine, they won PCS2, and I think a lot of people will be backing them in, as we saw there, to do it again because of that history of being able to win. But this time, Edge, they're not going to have the large point gap that they had towards the back end of PCS2, which really, in the end, kept them afloat.
Yeah, that buffer was definitely handy for them in PCS2. It came in clutch at the end. But not having it this time, it does does make it a bit easier for the likes of Buriram and Fury, but even still, they're just going to need to come out. I think they honestly need to get a win or two to confirm this, because last weekend Buriram was just looking like they were a different team. They were playing so much better. They put themselves on the edge and played well from it, getting a couple of chicken dinners. So I really think it's definitely anyone's game at this point.
We've touched on the top 3. We'll go down 2 slots there to sort of round out a top 5 in terms of the teams to watch out for this weekend. Division X Gaming, Sharper Esport, both have been a delight to watch here for PCS 3 APAC. Sharper Esport, no chicken dinner yet, hefty amount of kills, which is where they're getting the majority of their points from. Certainly need to find more placement points if they're going to get into the top 3. But Division X Gaming, I think rightfully are a team that can still give themselves a chance. Really, internally, it's only 32 points behind LG Divine. They've got the kills, 82 to the 84 of LG Divine, so they're getting frags. Just haven't been able to get as many wins. Only the 1 chicken dinner, and outside of that, really only 23 placement points outside of that win. So that's a part of their game, along with Sharper Esport, that needs to be fixed if they're going to have any opportunity of getting into the top 3, let alone that top spot as a whole. We look at the damage so far as well for the total. Top 5, Kim Siver. We've said his name many times over the first 2 weekends. A huge pickup for Sharper Esport. Big reason why they've had the resurgence that they've had since the glory days of Golden Cat. Haisaki, I mean, never in doubt this guy's going to frag out for Cerberus, God Meow, Namsi, Long K. Household names in the APAC region, and there's really no surprising player there that you would have thought didn't belong.
Yeah, it's actually pretty surprising that we've got the likes of Kim Siver and Haisaki, considering they're sitting around that 5th, 6th position. They're getting a lot of damage, and they've got the kills kind of to match it up, but they just haven't been able to convert those games like your Buriram, Divine, and even Division X have had a win there. So I think they can push themselves to be a much stronger team, but they just need to be able to convert games here.
The kill top 5, though, total one does stand out. It's Nan from Angel Alliance, the Philippines team, who have been exceptional to watch for PCS 3 APAC. At the beginning, the first weekend, it was sort of the Mad Dog show. Nan has stood up, though, and because of that, and because Angel Alliance have been able to now perform more so on both maps rather than just Miramar, that's why they're in the top 8 and they represented the Philippines region to a really high degree. No surprise with the other players. Jun's in there in terms of kills, considering he wasn't in the damage top 5. But for Kim Siver and Namsi, they're the only 2 that are actually both in the kills and top 5 damage as well. Edie for Buriram jumping into the kill. So look, I think it also goes to show when you look at both the damage and the kills, you're seeing multiple from the same team, Buriram, Sharper, Divine, of course, but it's not always the same players, Edge. The ones who are getting the damage maybe aren't necessarily the ones getting the kills here. As we look at the Peps Plus, which is sort of like, I guess, a fantasy ranking as to how powerful a player's ability is. Nan versus Rocky Jims of Purple Mood, which apparently, according to Rocky Jims' Peps, his potential is not very good. I'm not sure why that is, considering he's got such high stats, but yeah, first I've seen of this one actually for the APAC region.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an interesting stat to take in completely, but you know, Nan's got really good finishing, really good firepower, so that does come into play when he's got all of this damage and picking up the kills as well. So definitely a really good pickup for Angel Alliance. And then Rocky Jim's coming out on the team. They've had 2 chicken dinners, I believe, for Purple Mood, two wins in a row. So
back to back, yeah.
Yeah, it's been pretty solid for them. Not sure what that potential stat is, but it's definitely interesting to see.
Yeah, the potential one kind of, I think, maybe derails the other stats there for Rocky Jims, who's obviously been a standout. Purple Mood themselves, they had that back-to-back chicken dinner last weekend, a team to keep an eye out for here going into the final weekend and the final 8 games from Thailand. They've been great. They round out the top 8, so we've pretty much touched on everyone inside of the top 8. The teams in the bottom 8, though, we'll start down the bottom. Unicorn, Ferox, Hydra Gaming. I think really as this event has gone on, Edge, these teams have struggled to really get involved and create their own mark on the event. Besides that one day from Ferox, and there was 1 day from Unicorn. Hydra's been a bit more consistent in terms of spreading out their points, but for the most part, the same story for all 3 of those teams. They just haven't really been able to shine consistently.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing is the consistency, because they've had little spurts where it's been like, oh, okay, this team, a couple more games like this and they could really put themselves in that middle pack, but it just doesn't seem like they've been able to push themselves to that place. Maybe they haven't been able to get the positions that they need to get those games, but if you keep on playing as a team and keep on putting in the effort after the PCS and going forward into 2021, I think that a lot of these teams could come up and could start doing a little bit of damage in the APAC scene.
The other thing to note as well, especially for more so Hydra Gaming and Day Trade, is that we do still have, and what has been really for the entire event, a bit of a logjam. The points hasn't really been as much of a soak in the terms of the top 2, top 3. It's more well distributed compared to PCS2 APAC. So a team like Day Trade, who's in 4th last position, 66 points, they're only 22 points away from 8th place. So sometimes that leaderboard position can be a little bit misleading as we finally get the countdown underway for match 1 this evening. 8 games remaining. It's match 17 for PCS3 8-pack. We can finally now kickstart the final weekend. Day number 5. And some pretty important matches to be played here. For LG Divine, they currently lead Buriram United by just 9 points. It's the closest it has been since, I would imagine, the first round. If we go back to the very beginning of PCS3 APAC Edge, LG Divine won the first 2 games. They won 5 out of the first 7. So from the very beginning, they've had a pretty decent gap. It hasn't been this close at all, as I said, since round 1.
Yeah, and it's pretty surprising that it's been brought back realistically as quickly as it has been, but that just goes to show really how strong your teams are. And from our point distribution, like even outside of the top 3, it's just so close, because you were saying before it's like 22 or 23 points for the likes of Hydra Gaming to put themselves up into top 8. That's incredibly close. Like, you never see it that close in PUBG tournaments generally.
Yeah. Obviously, they're in the 14th position. For Ferox and Unicorn, it's a bit further away, not as close. But who knows? 8 games to go. You can sort of rectify the season a little bit. One thing we saw last week was the M16 and these parachutes to Succession. That was Algen Bots from Angel Alliance, who actually got 2 knocks, Edge, if you can remember, in 2 games back-to-back onto the parachuting player. Didn't result in much, but it was still really cool to see. In this case, though, it is going to be Hexagon who, well, does take a bit of chip damage, almost about half health from the future, but over at Hacienda does manage to land safely on the ground. Look at Namsi just sort of rummaging here for LG Divine. No surprise we sort of go over to them first and have a bit of an overview here. Miramar has been a good map for them. In saying that, they've been really good on both Miramar and Erangel to good degree. Of course, they started off immaculate, though, on Miramar for PCS3 APAC. 4 of 4 rounds. They won all 4 of them on Miramar. Really, since then, though, it has dropped off a little bit in terms of their point averages. And obviously, the wins have also dried up as well since weekend number 1. And I think that's going to be what they need. I'm calling it. They've got to get at least 1 win this weekend, or they won't win.
Yeah, I'm absolutely on the same page here. I think they need it. I think they're games that they haven't got wins, and they get to the late game and they just don't get enough kills. They'll get a couple of kills here and there, but then you've got Fury and Buriram who all they need is, that 1 game to put themselves back up or over you at this point. So I think they need a win. If they're going to get a win, it's probably going to be on Miramar. I think what they showed earlier in the tournament was pretty much an outlier, right? You'll probably never see that really happen again. Especially with this level of competition. So the likelihood of LG Divine coming out here tonight and getting a win, I would say, is pretty unlikely, but it is PUBG.
It is. Sometimes the strange things take place over the more expected. One thing to note as well, for those who might have had a glimpse of the map, of course, it's been a very regular occurrence on Miramar here for PCS3 APAC, but Los Leones does feature both Fury and Purple Mood. They share it pretty much. I guess they've got a nice little safe word. No one really entrenches on the opposing territory. We haven't seen a single skirmish. It is a very large city. Fury typically on the west side, Purple Mood usually on the east side. Fury will also enjoy this current first phase 1 circle right over Los Leones. La Bandita up to the north, which is where Bay are currently pushing into. And the team we didn't touch on, we didn't probably get to the teams around 12 to 9, which is From the Future, Victim Rise, Bay, and Magic Esport. They're all sort of limbering around in the middle of the pack. Bay, though, has been the biggest drop-off, especially from PCS to Edge. Last weekend was not a good weekend for them, and they've dropped from what was the first weekend placing in the top 5, now down to 10th.
Yeah, that's right. Bay really hasn't had the tournament they were looking for, and they kind of seem a little bit out of it compared to how they normally would play. They've been trying to do a lot of their old strategies and third partying fights, but they've just been caught out in a lot of them. So this definitely hasn't been their tournament. They do have a lot of potential, but I think for them here, they just need to really reset, take their time, look at how they need to play these circles, and then just try and get whatever they can out of each game.
Jukesy from Bay looking to rectify what's been a sliding trend. Other part of it as well is that Sophia has had an amazing event from an individual standpoint, and unfortunately just hasn't really had a whole lot of help. Loki's not going to get any help here with LG Divine just sending it straight into the compound. I think obviously for Loki's understanding the situation, probably would even know that it's LG Divine. How many teams in this lobby sort of breach compounds phase 1? LG Divine is a rare breed. They will do it. They do it regularly in phases 2 and 3. And in this case, they came from the more northern direction, and they've taken a pretty decent compound. In these fields, though, it's very open. But if this is something that's going to be easy to take, like it was, I mean, Loki's basically gave them no sort of defense, then this has just been a really good rotation. And this is what LG Divine accomplish. Night in, night out, game each one after another, where it looks like they get fed in the later circles, but it's these early positional decision-making plays that they do that gets them that rewarding circle play.
Absolutely. Like, this compound here is a very, very high tier compound. If this circle does come back towards the northeast, you'd almost guarantee that it'll be in the final 1 or 2 circles. So taking it now, taking it early, not only does it secure you a good rotation, even if the circle goes off you, it secures you a really good ending zone. And that's what LG Divine's been really good at on Miramar, is getting these high tier positions and holding them. They don't worry about taking them early. They'll take the fight. They're pretty confident in their close quarters fighting. So that's what they'll do here. And they've actually, looks like they've pushed Bay off another position right now. So very, very strong play and confident play coming out from Divine, and that's pretty scary.
Yeah, that's Levi's as the solo is going to get a bit of backup from JN, pushing out now for LG Divine. We'll go and glimpse at Fury. 3rd place at the moment, 21 points behind LG Divine. Not going to see much of them, I guess, at the start here, looting in Los Leones. They've just sort of held around the edge. Angel Alliance close by, further out to the west. Just north of this is Cerberus as well, a team that's in 6th position now, looking to, I guess, leapfrog into the top 5. They're certainly not that far behind in doing so, and definitely one of their better PCS events in 2020. A team that always has high expectations, a team that in past events were considered contenders, a team that could win, but always falls short. This has definitely been one of their better performances throughout 2020 so far, and we'll see if they can finish on a strong note too.
Absolutely. I mean, getting that win early on is a big breath of fresh air for Fury and for Fury fans, I'd imagine. So it should be a little bit of a confidence booster knowing that they can get those wins, that they don't always have to just get the high kill games to pull themselves back into it. But I think they need a little bit more and maybe another win here to push themselves into that first place coming over these last 8 games.
We got ourselves a bit of a donut circle for phase 1. I say that because essentially Los Leones is like the mini circle. No one's really going to go in there. It's a black hole on this circle, which does push everyone outwards a little bit rather than having that dead center location available. Phase 2 can change that, provided it doesn't remain central on top of Los Leones. But you can kind of see the teams just surrounding the major city. And that northern shift does change that central location, and it makes La Bendita a really big factor for the remainder of this game. High elevation, good place to hold. Don't necessarily want to go inside of the crater, definitely not early on, but VTR from the future, Bay to a degree, all around that sort of position could make the move for it early. For LG Divine, they got a decision to make as well. They moved from that compound they originally took. They probably go over to Levi's, who made that push earlier, and make a play from there. Fury, do they just stay on the north side of Los Leones? Most likely. Where do you really go from here? A lot of teams committed more to the south edge, so we're going to be seeing a lot of rotations. Don't be surprised if we see some knocks, see some kills, that kill feed potentially light up over the next minute or so.
Absolutely. This is a very common circle at this point, and Fury has stretched out a little bit, but generally you'd see this end around the crater that Cerberus has got themselves positioned at. So a really strong spot there for Cerberus. They've actually put themselves inside the crater now. A lot of teams will try and position around that area in anything that's currently viable for them to take. And Fury's got a very nice split. Also, Bay, LG Divine's got themselves that nice compound that they can work off as well. So I don't think we're going to see too much at the moment, but definitely after this circle, once, and I'm assuming it'll push off Los Leones, that's when it'll start to get very interesting. And LG Divine again
continue to hunt down Bay like sheep. This time it's Sophia who has to run away. LG Divine are more than happy to use utility early on as well. Try and secure this early. They'll throw bodies at it if they need be. Bay going to go for the reinforcements. Neverhawk was already close. He is sort of just watching outside, looking for the run across from a player like NamC, for instance, or even Levi's, who tries to make their way over the long haul. Jun just watching that window, seeing if Sophia's going to try and peek it. J-End on the roof. So LG Divine not going for the immediate bridge might backfire because of the fact that now Bay has arrived. LG Divine don't have a foothold inside of the long building. Sophia's in there, could push out. Although Levi's just catches one off guard. That's Neferhor caught napping. Levi's with a bit of a flank. And because of that, now LG Divine have got the numbers.
Yeah, I really thought that Bay's surround on the compound there was going to pay off in their favor, but it looks to be backfiring. J-End with a very nice knock with the flash onto Jukesy, and Sophia will actually need himself out there.
MC could really just finish this off. Bay have been decimated by an absolute monster juggernaut in LG Divine, swept aside like the sheep they are. 4 kills. I think both of us thought that Bay played that all right, that LG Divine didn't capitalize on Sophia. It was a 4 versus 4. Levi's, though, had the key that unlocked that whole exchange, and from there, it was over. As soon as that knock happened, Bay just fell like flies, and they're probably going to continue to fall on the leaderboard after this game as well. VTR from the future, not too far behind them, and it's again just another early exit.
And this is really dangerous for teams because Divine are just looking so confident. They don't care. They just want to take that fight. They'll take it for position, and they've got themselves such a strong position. Depending on what this circle does and it comes back, this could be another win for LG Divine, and this is what our teams definitely don't need.
Yeah, if you're Bureau Ram, if you're Fury, Division X, you don't want to be seeing this from LG Divine right now. This is an amazing start for them, of course, though. For the 73% of you guys at home who chose LG Divine for the Pick'em Challenges, this is an amazing start, and this could get even better for the LG Divine fans because Insight's about to die. There's no way out of that. Pinch from both sides, just moments, and Los Santos will punish him for that maneuver. I'm not sure exactly what was in the mind there, maybe just anticipating that no one had taken this rock formation north of Los Leones. Obviously, this is going to scare off the rest of Fury away from this position. Well played from Purple Mood. They continue their form from last weekend. Nice early kill. We transition over to Cerberus, pushing on to Ronan and Waika Kamukau. Fury, of course, have just lost insight. And they don't even have Flood at the fight just yet, still driving around. So it's a 2 versus 4 as it stands currently. Nade in hand for Waika Kamukau. Primes it. Oh my god, Flood just got sat down by Sololzi. Cow has too many just rushing at him. Isaki and Basil all at once. Ronan coming with the flank. There is 2 knocked. Can get at least 1 execution. Although I think Ronan outnumbered, outgunned, and unfortunately is going to die here unless he can pull off something clutch. He went for the Axie onto Sololzi. At the very least, Ronan did pick up 2 kills for Fury, but it's not going to be enough when you look at what LG Divine have already accomplished in this match, what they're most likely going to set out to do with the position they have. Not the start to the weekend they would have liked. 7 games remaining. They're by no means done. But it's going to be a continued climb up a very, very tough hill.
Yeah, that was such an interesting play from Fury there. They went for that no information rotation, just believing that no other team would be up in that high ground area, but it just backfiring for them. And because they did leave their compound, they were just backfilled instantly. So really, really unfortunate there for Fury, but they still have plenty of games to go, and it's by no means over yet. So they'll be just looking to have 3 good games to end off this tournament, hopefully, and then see what tomorrow brings. Definitely.
Mipinzuzu from the future in thereabouts. A good opportunity now presents itself for from the future to try and get themselves into the top 10. Only 6 points behind Bay, who are of course out. They do have to leapfrog VTR though, and they've got to win this fight too. Rabbit will get the opening knock on Mipinzuzu. Triple X just watching, holding that rock, now falls back, expecting the reinforcements to push up. The nades as well are successful. Not enough to get the knock though. Hexagon needs to punish here, get a knock on a Mickey or 2. To end Robo will get Rain. That's elsewhere, that's Hydra Gaming. Hexagon though is just going to have to find a different position. Triple X did heal after being taken very, very low. Nade. Thrown too far, bounces away, but that's going to be much better with the gun in hand. Knock on the Rabbit, successful from the future. Should be able to confirm at least 1 here. Mickey's still around in the area too, in the vicinity too, and Robo has now pushed up as well. Hydra Gaming quite separated here, but from the future haven't got Mipinzuzu, so in a sense they are separated themselves. This is a big one though. This could determine the entire fight. If Hexagon can get Mickey, vice versa, I think whoever wins this 1v1 could win the entire team fight. Hexagon, though, unfortunately, does get surprised by Mickey. And now leaves Gypsy Danger at the Rockling for the retrade. He does get it successfully. So never mind. Short-lived advantage for Hydra Gaming. And 2N Robo's got a lot to deal with here. Simon coming in from the flanking position, though, to catch Triple X off guard. He does get knocked. Gypsy's now in a 1 versus 2.
Yeah, this is such a double-ended fight here, because even winning this fight, as Hydra Gaming does do, they have realistically not much area to play with. They can play into that La Bandita area, but as soon as this next circle shift comes in, they're going to be completely out and in the open to all the teams on the edge of the crater. We do see Angel Alliance starting to drop. Miramar was their favoured map before this weekend, and doesn't seem to be doing so at the moment. Ferox pushing in off the edge of the blue. Not a great spot for the 2 remaining players, with all of Magic Esports surrounding them on their entry now. Does not look very good for Ferox on their opener for tonight either.
It certainly does not. At least they've cracked 50 points though. Little victories, always nice victories. Magic Esport, VTR, going to make sure they don't get anything else from this. 1 kill. That's all it'll likely be. Of course, this blue, though, I mean, VTR, Magic Esport, they're going to have to continue to run as well, forward ahead. Bryn's going to have a cheeky shot onto Tom K, but he lands that headshot. That could be actually an elimination, because that blue is pushing in. So this is quite a bit risky from Tom K, but he backs himself in and lands the shot onto Bryn. So it's all... We'll be able to get off at least 1 more first aid kit, but so far to run, so little chances of maneuvering it forward. So Ferox are going to be eliminated here pretty early on into the first match of the night, and just decides to try and Molotov himself, which he is successful. 12th for Team Ferox. Continues to go from bad to worse for them. This match, though, particularly continues to go great for LG Divine. Ram also in a good position, but Division X Gaming kind of been a sleeper so far. Edge, haven't spoken too much about them, but a really good compound. And I think towards the latter stages of this match, they're going to be in an even better position than, say, Ram.
Oh, for sure. You can almost expect this compound to be in even 2-3 circles from now. They should get themselves at least to that top 5 position just by holding their compound. But that's as long as no teams breach. And we've seen it before, we'll see it again.
Oh my god.
Divine might even possibly take that breach. So depending all on what this circle does, we're going to see a lot of teams make desperate moves.
Desperate times call for desperate measures. Maximus bleeds out to Rocky Gyms. Apparently that 65 potential coming in handy as we shift over to phase number 5. Magic Esports is trying to hold on here in the fields. Very, very low. Klee pushing out. Unicorn Cyber getting involved. 2 kills, but 4 players alive. And Klee may be able to capitalize here on Tong K and Valix. No nade, no Molotov. And there's smokes remaining. A couple of flashes as well. But yeah, this phase 5 has definitely shifted on top of Division X Gaming, like we kind of predicted. LG Divine no longer in the best position. Bureau looking like they're going to make an early move. They've sent Nordra actually over to the compound directly for Division X's position. So they've already got one over there. Might just pop off later on. We'll get to it in a moment. Chipper on the move though for Victim Rise over towards La Bendita, which Victim Rise are actually inside of the crater. And it's the Southwest, though, that's going to kick off any minute. LG Divine, Purple Mood, Unicorn, Magic Esport are all situated at this position. Bass 1301 is going to be able to avoid that. Los Santos is going to be knocked, in fact, by Dat Blue. Unicorn are fragging out right now. LG Divine, though, trying to be the beneficiaries and snag a few kills for themselves. They've got 5. They had 4, of course, from that earlier wipe against Bay. 2 tap from LG Divine's Levi's. Successful onto Boss Sends. And what a way to start the weekend for the heavy favorites.
Yeah, this is definitely a big confidence booster right now. They're hitting their shots, they're getting great positions, and they're just moving in forward. But Gen Foss might have something to say about it as he and Chibrit team up to take out Levi's, and it wasn't looking too great there for Jonah either, trying to run it back into the compound. They maybe got a little bit cocky on their overextension there, but they do keep 3 alive now. They've still got that compound. We did only have 2 teams in the circle previously. We've sort of got a little bit more in now, and it's not looking too good for LG Divine as they're getting picked apart.
I feel like this is going to be one... I could be going early here, but I think this could be one of those games where LG Divine get 6 to 8 kills, but they don't get placement points. And how many times do we see it play out for them? It seems to be the formality for LG Divine. Even in the games where they don't make it towards the end, they still find 6 to 8 kills. It's incredible how efficient they are in the early stages of these matches. This is what I was talking about before, though. Not too surprised that things haven't kicked off, because you can see sort of where Canaxi's position is. That's where Nordra originally pushed up to, and while Division X Gaming aren't really going to be able to see that position. So smart play from Ram as they rotate up north. They can now play the compound against Division X Gaming from here. Hydra Gaming still got their duo around it. You can see there on the map on the north side. And this phase 6 that's going to come is going to basically spell the end for LG Divine, Unicorn, Victim Rise also. It's going to be very difficult for them because there's just open field. It's just open territory. And LG Divine, despite having 3 players up, at best they maybe find a few kills, Edge. But where else do you go to try and get placement points in this game? I mean, considering though there's only 9 teams left, LG Divine could potentially hold on and just hope that one of the teams with 1 or 2 players left go out now, and they could actually find 1 or 2 placement points here, along with their current 6 kills.
That's right. That's really best case scenario for them. They are making that play now. They've got a little bit of a bowl in front of them that they can play off. They just need to hope that they just avoid these nades from VTR. It will be pretty good. Do no damage to J-End apparently, but they've got themselves a position now. So moving forward, they do have a decent spot. I think after this current zone, it will be very rough for them to play out of here. But I think, in all honesty, Brew Ram's kind of got my favorite spot in this zone with the really big trench outside of Division X's compound.
well, they're just going to sort of camp Division X as they come out of the compound eventually from Canaxi's position. They can just sort of watch as they come out. Canaxi actually finds a knock on Veronica that's on the other side of the circle. So even from this position, Buriram can actually have an impact on the teams towards the south side of the circle, along with the fact towards the late game they're going to be able to hinder Division X too. So a good position too as Victim Rise continue to push on to LG Divine. That's SnamC flushed. It's just Jun and JN left. They do outnumber Samoy in the smokes here. Chibrit, they're looking for the retrade, at least try and get 1-for-1. JN knows one that lands a tag onto him. LG Divine, they find kills. They find a way to get points in situations where they're not in an ideal spot. They're not fed. They haven't got a compound, but they just scrap along. They get the points they need to achieve in the games that maybe don't go the best of way. I mean, they had to fight to get the elimination onto Bay. They pushed and pushed. They made their own luck in that regard. And then the same has sort of happened as well. This is going to be a sort of staple that they can do it when they don't get fed. And when they do get fed, they capitalize. They just do it regardless. And they're showing it again. They get placement points as well. 8 teams left, 20 alive.
Absolutely. And that's what PUBG is all about. It's about finding not only how you can win the game, but if you can't win the game, how you can get the most points possible out of that game. And I feel like Divine's one of those teams that are actually really solid at doing that. They don't rely entirely on the wins, although it does help them a lot, but they can get the kills and can get a lot of placement points. Maybe not even being first, but just coming in those other placements. As we see our following circle, Buriram.
Wow.
Beautiful spot. VTR, LG Divine, Day Trade, and Unicorn are in kind of a rough spot right now with their only option will probably be to breach the hut that Cerberus is currently playing.
Certainly in terms of a long-term strategy of running out of ideas. They've got the current strategy, which was the bowl. It worked out well for Phase 6. Not going to work well, though, for Phase 7. Division X haven't really been able to achieve much. Just the 1 kill. Of course, they've also now got the 1 placement point. I kind of suspect that they will get more than just 1 placement point from this match. Buriram, though, 4 kills. They've been able to sort of match LG Divine. It was a 9-point deficit. They're now 12 points behind LG Divine. So it hasn't really ballooned out, fortunately, for Buriram. Unfortunately for Fury, they're going to be looking at a 30-point deficit now with 7 games to go. Fergus does get Simon. And these are the kills that Division X really need to acquire towards the end of Phase 7, because from Phase 8 onwards, they're probably going to get camped by Buriram, and it'll be very difficult for them to find more kills.
Yeah, that's right. I was going to bring up that we had 2 teams still with 4 players, but as I was even thinking it, Buriram lost a player on the edge of the zone to one of the Unicorn players. So Buriram down. They do get a little bit of revenge there as he takes down Klee. So Buriram still lighting up that kill feed. Victim Rise starting to make their move towards Division X as LG Divine push on towards Cerberus, but will get taken down by the Molotov and the teamwork of Nordra there. So LG Divine out in 6th place. They will pick up 2 points. They do get a little bit more of a buffer.
But look at this, though. Like, that deficit, I said it was 12. It's already back down to 9, right? So this is going to be a successful game for Buriram United. The deficit, which was 9 points, it's going to be improved upon in their own favor as Edie does eliminate Kamals. I'm pretty certain a win from here with a few more kills will get them top spot. Although Nordra has been knocked, and well, Division X, to their credit, have actually come out of this compound and done quite well. They haven't finished off the good work just yet, and as I can see sort of on the map, it seems as if Cerberus and Buriram are both going to sort of pincer Division X here towards the end. So even more work to do. But getting Nordra up is crucial for Buriram's success. If they're going to be able to win this match, Division X will get the revive as well. And Nordra will be successfully picked back up. So 4 versus 3 versus 2. And Su Bang and Basil for Cerberus in that shack have been fed the circle for phase number 8. They could very well win this game.
Absolutely. Canaxi for Buriram actually holds such a pivotal position right now. And as I say that, he gets taken down by Fergus. If Canaxi was able to stay alive there, he would have been able to just third party from behind the fight between Division X and Buriram and potentially help out in Buriram's clearing of Division X. But with him out, all it leaves it up to now is Nordra and Edie. So they've got a lot of work ahead of themselves against 4 of the Division X players who are seemingly on fire right now.
Yeah. Long K is going to push out, look to try and finish this off once and for all. It's been 7 kills there for Buriram. A successful game, regardless of this ending here. There's number 8, though, from Nordra. Another point going the way of Buriram, and it makes it even more difficult for Division X now. Only the 3 players. Nade in hand for Nordra. Are we about to witness something really special with that nade? We are. It's a nade knockdown onto IQ 500. 1 more to follow. It will get the confirmation. It will get another knock onto Neil as well. What a play from Nordra. And he's gonna finish them off. That's it. Cerberus win through essentially just being the last one standing. Literally, Nordra. I don't think they got second. I think they ended up finishing 3rd. But was able to pick up and steal a few kills away. No, it was 2nd. They got 2nd place because of that. What a play from Nordra. 6 kills, gets them 2nd place. That was 6 just for Nordra alone. They had 11 in total. It's a 1-point deficit. Cerberus win, but the story is all about Buriram United.
That was an absolutely huge, big brain play from Nordra there. That first nade knock, throwing out the 2nd nade and healing up and doing that little bit of damage before the blue hit the final Division X player was absolutely massive. That could potentially be the breaking moment for Buriram to sort of just push up ahead of LG Divine. It won't be this game, but yeah, that was such an absolutely monstrous play there.
Huge play, huge match. And a huge way to start this weekend. Of course, this match had all started with LG Divine, though. Clean sweeping Battle Arena Elites, making them just look like fodder. They got the quick 4K without any casualties, without any downs either. They got them off to a really good start. They kept moving around. They were able to find quite a few kills in this particular match. Fury, unfortunately, well, they were the opposite of LG Divine. A rough start that didn't end well at all for them. Rona did at least secure 2 kills. They got something, but not enough. It's a 28-point deficit now, so that gap has increased. And of course, the gap to Buriram has increased exponentially as well. Sharper Esport, not too much really to say from them this match either. Cerberus, though, they had a big one. They were able to get up into 5th place, not too far behind Division X now.
Yeah, Division X had an absolute ripper there. And, you know, it goes to show that, well, you know, you can get fed the entire game and you can get yourself into those top 2, top 3 positions, but converting the game is like an entirely different thing, and they just weren't able to in this situation. But Cerberus, I'm pretty pleased that they've come out and they've got that 10 kill win.
Yeah, 100% for them in terms of their chances of a top 3 finish. Potentially, I don't know if I'd go as far as saying 1st place. That's going to be very difficult. They would need more performances like this one if they're going to be able to achieve that. Which, I mean, like, as of right now, they're actually now only 40 points behind LG Divine with that 20-point game just then, and that was with LG Divine having a 9-point game. So a repeat from Cerberus with LG Divine maybe having a very low amount of point game. Well, then all of a sudden it just blows it wide open, and we got ourselves an amazing race. But it's an amazing race regardless as it stands because of Buriram's match here as well. 17 points with that 2nd place finish, 11 kills to their name, and they make it just a 1-point gap. LG Divine, though, I called it pretty early on in that game too. It was looking like a game where once again they weren't going to feature at the end of the match, but they were going to get all of the work done at the beginning of the match.
Yeah, that's right. They did do a lot of work in the early parts of the match. The later parts maybe not going towards their favor. I would have been interested to see what placing they would have had if they held their original position the first position that they took off Bay in that open field, the one that Buriram later came into. So, you know, a little bit of decision making could have changed the outcome of the game there, but for LG Divine, that was definitely the right play for them to take that compound from Bay.
Unicorn Cyber rounding out the top 5 from that match with 8 points, which actually puts them only 8 points behind Team Ferox, which is going to be, I guess, a little race in itself to keep an eye on there down the bottom, just to see what happens there. Unicorn Cyber, who had a very, very slow start to PCS3 APAC, have been able to get rolling. But look at the top of the standings. That's where it matters. That's where it really matters. And what's intriguing is we could even have a replica of PCS2 tied on placement points, only 1 kill point the difference. I would imagine there hasn't been a rule change. I would imagine the third tiebreaker is what it was for PCS2, which is the biggest game wins, which maybe it's a bit early to go into that, but I'm pretty certain Buriram has that covered over LG Divine. And a quick little look says, yes, they have. They had a 14 kill win. LG Divine's best win was 9 kills. So as it stands, if there was to go to that third tiebreaker in 7 games time, unless something changes from LG Divine's perspective, Buriram would hold those rights. But long way to go from there. What I will say though is Edge, it really sets the tone for the weekend.
Yeah, that's right. It's definitely going to be a nail-biting weekend, and the final day tomorrow, I wouldn't like to be in the top 2, top 3 teams' shoes. It's going to be a little bit too stressful for my liking, but it's going to be good PUBG action, and I'm here for every moment.
Well, we've still got 3 matches, though, to go today before we even get to tomorrow. So stay strapped in. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, we go back to Miramar. 7 matches remaining. We've finished off for the first one of the weekend already, going the way of Cerberus. Buriram, though, having a very large impact. LG Divine, not too shabby themselves either. So it's a bit more of the same, really, at the top end of the standings here for PCS3 APAC. But of course, it's a 1-point deficit now. There's basically no lead edge. Really, it's like there's nothing. With 7 games to go, it's as even as it can be. And this is why I was a little bit surprised to see only, 12.3% of the Pick'em challenges going for Buriram, considering how close the deficit was with so many games remaining. And it really shows now even more to fruition here.
Yeah, the Pick'ems were a little bit surprising for me as well. I definitely thought that that Buriram would have been a much higher favourite in this circumstance, but obviously there's a lot of Divine supporters out there. There's a lot of people who are hedging their bets on the back-to-back wins, so they're all putting their cards on the table and all their eggs in one basket. Hopefully they've got multiple pick'ems on, but
Well, I'm sure a large amount of people did vote for Sonics, of course, so I'm sure there's a lot of points that have been distributed already due to Sonics picking up the win. I'm not sure MCG how many they had. I don't think they were considered much of a favorite, so potentially maybe there wasn't too many that voted for them. Regardless, of course, this is APAC, this is the best region, and really we could actually have the best finish to all of the regions here with how close it is right now. The question, though, that remains is there going to be a third contender or even a fourth contender? We've spoken about Fury, we've spoken about Division X. Can they join Buriram and LG Divine in closing out this season of APAC at the tippity top, or is it going to be a 2-horse race?
At this point, it's kind of looking like it will be just that 2-horse race. Fury not having the start that they wanted, they're still not far behind, but they just need to get a little bit of momentum, whether it's in this game of Miramar or just going into the Erangels and coming out, just getting a heap of kills and potentially picking up some wins as well.
They can't rely on just Erangel, though. You could say that for pretty much all of the teams, though. You've got to be able to do it on both maps, especially when you're trying to win the entirety of PCS. You've got to be able to do it on both maps. We've seen that from Buriram. We've seen that from LG Divine. Not sure if we've seen it to the fullest degree, though, from Fury, to be fair. I still think Division X, from what we saw in that last game, gives me hope that they could potentially make it a 3-horse race as well if Fury aren't the ones to do so. So I think Division X looking very, very strong. Buriram, I like what I see from them. They were my pick at the very beginning of PCS 3, and I obviously wouldn't be changing that now with 7 games to go, and they're only 1 point behind LG Divine. It's been said, though, and I'll repeat it again, for LG Divine, they win this, and they, like Sonics, will be the only team to have been able to go back-to-back for the PCS in all of the regions throughout 2020 to win 2 as well. They would be the only ones. Only reason why they would technically be the second team to do it is just due to the scheduling more than anything. So from what we saw, though, in the last match, LG Divine continued the same sort of play style, that aggressive nature, pushing, getting kills early on, getting the most of their work done early on. I think when they're at their absolute Super Saiyan 3 best is when they combine that with a bit of a late game circle feed. If they can get up to a late game position where they go to compound after they've already gotten 6 kills early on, that's when they're humongous. That's when they're going to go on and win and get a 10 or a 12 kill win. And if they can do that, that gives them an extremely likelihood that they can go on and win PCS3 APAC. Match number 18 coming to you live right now. Final match of Miramar already for this Saturday. Of course, we'll have 2 more tomorrow, but Erangel to follow after this. 156 points for LG Divine, 155 points for Buriram United. It's once again Vietnam versus Thailand.
Yeah, this is as close as you could have asked for, honestly. No one wants to see a 1-horse race where we potentially had that last season. It's not as exciting from a viewer's perspective, and now we've got that. We've got the close games that really, that's all we can ask for at this stage, and now coming into our final games, I just want to see some really good, really high octane action coming out from our top 2 teams, and hopefully we can get a little bit of swapping going on the leaderboard, a little bit of back and forward.
See the rankings on Miramar Division X, 96 of their 125 points over on Miramar. That is a
Surprising.
whopping one-sided affair, which really that in itself is a story. That if they can actually translate the performance here from Miramar over to Erangel, I don't see why Division X can't take that third spot away from Fury. They're only 3 points behind them now. Fury, though, themselves have actually been more of an Erangel team. So we might just sort of be seeing the full aspects of that, where you've got the Miramar team playing before the Erangel team. And so I guess the leaderboard highlights that, at least from what we've been seeing. But I think that's really that's been the biggest deficiencies for these two teams, Fury and Division X, is that they've lacked on one map. For Division X, they've lacked on Erangel. For Fury, they've lacked on Miramar. And that's been the biggest factor. For Cerberus Esports, actually, they've been smack bang in the middle, pretty even on both Miramar and Erangel, which is a really good sign. It's just that evenness hasn't been enough on both sides to get them into the top 3 conversation just yet. Although, after their previous performance, they're not too far away, 12 points behind Fury. I would dare say the 40 points of LG Divine might be too much, but hey, 7 games remaining. We've seen some funny things happen before in the past. I wouldn't put it past it, and I certainly wouldn't count them out. The only team, the last team, I would say Edge, I'd say the top 5 have all got a chance to still win PCS3 APAC. Everyone else, I'd say, are as good as done.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think Sharper was one of those teams where I felt like they were having really good, solid performances. Like, they're up there with their kills. They've had some decent placements, but they just haven't had those more often games where they're higher placing as well. They've got the damage, they've got the kills, they've got everything else in between. They just need to convert a couple of rounds, get themselves top 6 placements, get a bit more of bonus points here and there. Because I do think that they're a definite contender. They're very scary individually, and you know it doesn't take much from that point to sort of push yourself up into the top 3. And for them, it's very easy at the moment.
Observers sort of pan over Wanky Kamukau running through the desert here. Solo, very far out west of Los Leones. Angel Alliance, again, similar to the first match, in a similar position, just a bit close by to Fury. Angel Alliance did drop out of the top 8, unfortunately, for the Philippines team. They dropped to 10th. For Bay, they did tumble down to 11th from 10th, so they only did drop the 1 place in the end from the future. Weren't able to capitalize. VTR was the team that did capitalize, though. But as we've sort of alluded to time and time again, you look at like 8th to 12th, is 11 points. There's not much points separating those teams, especially Bay to VTR there, 5 points from 11th to 8th. Purple Mood on 99 points. A couple of really good games, I think, away from securing a top 8 finish, which is just tremendous for their first outing to PCS in 2020. A really good debut, showing very much a team to watch out for in 2021. Angel Alliance, again, similar to Purple Mood. A really good showing. And it's just about finishing strong now. They've done enough work. They will crack 100 points, but they've got to finish strong. Make sure they don't tumble down the standings with 4 or 5 games to go.
Yeah, that's right. Another team that definitely doesn't want to tumble down the standings is the likes of Magic Gaming. They've had a really good event so far. The previous PCS2, they did come in 14th position, so they've really stayed at it, and they've made a pretty solid name for themselves at the moment, and that's what I think a lot of these teams need to do. Even if they're not coming in like the top 10, top 9, top 6 areas, you just have to keep coming back and keep showing that each time you come back, you're learning more and you're just coming back stronger. So I think if you were to look at any team at the moment, you'd definitely look at Magic Esports and be pleasantly surprised by how they're performing now.
Victim Rise back into the top 8. A team that can definitely frag with the best of them, as they showed us in the last match. They'll be pushing towards Bay in this match. And for Bay, we've spoken about them at lengths, and sort of, I guess, more so the worries for them and what's been a pretty disappointing PCS event as it currently stands. They can still yet turn it around, though. 7 matches still to go and get points from. And they're not that far away from, say, Sharper. It's not even 20 points. It's only 18 points from 6th position. So you've got to make sure as a team, I mean, I obviously don't know how they're feeling right now, but you can't have that defeatist mentality. You've just got to get into that next game, back yourselves in, that you're going to turn it around towards the end, as we watch LG Divine actually hunt down Bay once again. It's deja vu, bit of PTSD flashbacks here for Jukesy as he gets breached by JN and NamC. They all arrive and Jukesy will depart.
It's definitely history repeating itself, but this time Bay capitalise. Neverhall will actually pick up the knock onto Jun. Will do a lot of damage, and it looks like Bay might be going for a re-breach here onto Divine. They're setting themselves up on the outskirts. They
surely not.
I'm not sure what's happening. Jukesy looks like he wants it, but it looks like Bay will just pull off and kind of just surround the LG Divine compound now. Levi's has.
Oh my god!
Off the edge, and that is an amazing shot. Actually, that's very unlucky there from Jukesy, and this looks like it'll spell his doom.
Wow! I think that's just the difference though as well between the two teams. There, you see the knock from Battle Arena Elites. They don't push on it. They don't look to capitalize. They try to play safe but aggressive. Aggressive in the sense that they sort of stuck around the area, which they're going to get punished for. So it was a bit like sort of caught in no man's land, right? It was like, do we push? Do we not push? We'll stay close, but we're not going to really go and do anything as God Meow finds an easy kill into Gypsy Danger. But as soon as Jukesy is knocked, Levi's is like, bam, we're going to push. We're going to kill him. And in the end, Bay get taught a lesson.
Yeah, this could be a really big issue for Bay if they're trying to play too safe, and it can just end up catching them off guard. So hopefully they pull their britches up and start playing a bit more of their own game. And I feel like that's a big issue for a lot of teams, just in PUBG in general, is that you get lulled into a game style that you don't want to play because you're a little bit worried of how your previous performances are going. I feel like you've kind of got to push it all to the side and just come in with the mentality that you're going to be playing your game. You know, win or lose, you just need to come out and you need to just really show how you want to play, and just, I don't know, you got to do everything you can in your power to start scoring some points.
Bay's number 2. We are going to have at least a slightly different circle, although in the grand scheme of things, around Los Leones again, last time out was more so towards La Bendita though. This seemingly may play out around the west side of Los Leones. A lot of teams already congested around the city. Wouldn't be surprised to see a team like Hydra Gaming who's rotating from like La Bendita to potentially push into Los Leones. There's not really any other real estate available, especially this late into the circle. A circle that already has so many teams in it. Buriram will get to play Edge, which they like. But LG Divine have a decent position here. They're close by to Bay, a team that they supposedly have been able to beat time and time again quite comfortably. I know it's a wounded team as well. Now they push to Sophia, and Sophia just keeps running away. And this is just something that keeps repeating itself. Bay just, at no point can they get and take these fights.
Yeah, Bay seem to have themselves in some decent positions, and then because they're playing that greedy style of just being full separate solo splits, they don't have the manpower to contest it. If they had maybe a duo set up in a compound or something like that, maybe not as greedy as they are currently, they can definitely contest it and try to stop Divine from making that play. It only really takes 2 players to get that opening knock or that double knock. So maybe something for the Bay playbook, especially in this lobby where Divine is so comfortable to breach. You might have to play just that tad bit more safe in that area, but not in others.
Oh, Buriram about to go right into the hornet's nets of Ferox. Monty, though, just a couple of little love taps. Doesn't even go for the full spray. Doesn't even attempt to. So much for the Hornet's Nest. More like the Butterfly Nest, because Ferox just did nothing. Buriram basically just got out free, scotch-free.
Yeah, that's right. Not really the best sort of engagement to take for Buriram there. They did lose a little bit of health there on Canaxi, so just backing off to resettle and potentially take the fight later on. Ferox as well looks like they might be repositioning into a compound so they don't have to hold the entire hill, which would probably be a pretty decent play for them at this stage. And the rest of our circle, though, seems pretty content with their positions. No one really making any sort of movement more towards the center. Everyone's still holding their splits for the most part. And majority of our teams, apart from the future, have already made their way fully into the circle.
Well, we are going to be 10 seconds away from phase 3. So far, only 2 deaths have transpired here for match number 2 tonight. Rain might make it 3 if he does get flushed. I don't think he will. And that is a doozy of a circle. Southside Los Leones, pretty much the entire city still in as well for phase number 3. Buriram smack bang in the middle of it. Ferox as well around that vicinity. Purple Mood, good spot. LG Divine and Fury more so towards the northern side of the circle, and a lot of teams on the west will have to make their way in. Rain does get flushed by God Meow, and Buriram United are tied with LG Divine. They take first place though, because going back, as I said, they actually have the 3rd tiebreaker, and that is all that is separating the 2 teams right now, both on 157 points.
And this is exactly what I want to see. I want to see those point swings. I want to see a hard-fought fight from start to end right now between Buriram and LG Divine. I want to see it swing either side constantly, and this circle is going to be an absolute exciting one if it ends in Los Leones. Tonkay actually with a really nice spray down onto Genfos on that motorbike. Pretty unlucky there on the rotate, yeah.
I'd be surprised if they don't lose any more here. Samoya, Kamal's Chibrit, got to be careful. They go for Magic Esport, now pushing through Unicorn Cyber. Seems like they've gotten through the worst of it. Chibrit did spin out, but he spun out in a good position. Kamals has also lost a tire as well. It's been hard work, but actually the other 3 members have been able to get through for Victim Rise, scraping by into this circle. They're all separated at the moment. It's not really happy days. Could be better. But at least having 3 players alive, and if there is a chance that all 3 can regroup, they can make something of this game, especially when it's a city finish. They can send it into the city, find a safe location, regroup, and make a play towards the back end of this game. We are halfway through match number 2 tonight, match 18 in total, and a minute until phase number 4, which I suspect goes south.
I would think so.
Like southwest?
Yeah. This one's kind of a little bit hard to predict. You would think it would push down to the south, but because of the hilly terrain on that south end, it could just come back into Los Leones. So I'm not 100% sure on which way it's going to go here.
On the kill feed, it's Flood and Cow who combine with the Poochels. 2 kills now for Fury. Slowly but surely, can they find the kills that are required to see them get closer towards Buriram and LG Divine? It's weird to say Buriram first in that exchange of words. Usually it's LG Divine. Battle Arena Elites, of course, if they're going to push into the city, why not push as close to LG Divine? These 2 teams are conjoined at the hip, it seems. And it was Southwest in the end, as I kind of expected it to go right on top of Sharper Esport. Just keep Cerberus barely in the south side of Los Leones. Buriram are not in play at the moment. I would imagine they can rotate down south, push through Hydra, push through Ferox. I'm not sure if pushing into the city is the play. See what they elect to go for, though. And Victim Rise, I'm just quickly here. Victim Rise, as I said, if the 3 of them can group back up, get to a good position, they can make something of this. And look where they've grouped up. Just south of Sharper Esport. Great spot. they don't need their vehicles anymore. They got 3 alive. Victim Rise looking good here in this match after a bit of a shaky rotate.
Yeah, that's right. Victim Rise have actually put themselves in a beautiful spot in that warehouse. And it's kind of all worked out that way because they lost that first player and because they were sort of struggling to push deeper. They just kept on driving. They found a spot and then they got that circle hard feed. And for the likes of Buriram, I feel like they're just going to leapfrog a lot of these teams in Los Leones and probably pick up a lot of kills as well. So this could work out really well for them if they do find LG Divine in the city and start picking them off. But from what we can see right now, LG Divine looks like they're running towards the center of Los Leones, so looking to avoid being gate-kept by the likes of Cerberus here and potentially come in on a different angle.
From the future. Not too far away from that mini logjam in front of them on the leaderboard, but they are far away from the circle at play here. On foot as well. No Gypsy danger. Buriram in front of them. Bay, that's going to be a spin out. Can Buriram United capitalize? They need all of the points that they can get, but it's Sophia who gets out of the truck and will at least get that elimination onto Nordra, but in turn, they do lose Nefahor. 1-for-1 trade between the two teams, but Mip and Zuzu across the road. I think God Meow is not long for this world. And the spray from Mip and Zuzu, a little rusty, but gets the job done.
They do have...
Buriram will be down to 2 players remaining.
Yeah, that's right. They do have Canaxi teamed up with Edie, I believe it is, in that the 5-stack building in Los Leones. So they still got the players to fall back on. And from the future, who are in quite a terrible spot, might not be too bad right now. If they can clean up the 2 members from Bay, Loki's and Sophia have a pretty good idea of where they are and will be looking to gatekeep them. So it's going to be rough from the future, but do they make it in? Doesn't look like it as Sophia picks up the first one onto Mip and Zuzu. Loki's taken down low. Sophia taken down low and into the blue zone. Hexagon will pick that one up. So they've turned it around right now. 2 players left from the future. They take the duel. Loki's will pick up Hexagon. It's all left up to Triple X. Nothing to come out now. Nade won't do anything here as Loki's a little bit far away, and Loki's will pick that up. It will go down instantly to the blue zone. So we lose 2 teams from the same fight with no other help from anyone else.
But it's better from Bay. Better performance in the match itself than what we've seen in recent games. Bit more aggressive, finding some kills. Insight's going to go out early again. Although, I mean, not too early, 19 minutes. It feels early, though, because we've still got 14 teams alive, and we only just saw our first teams eliminated there, but not ideal. Ferox going to get a nice hard feed here, along with Sharper Esport across the road from them up north. Purple Mood and Cerberus very close by to each other. Fury just staying in at that warehouse. Just moments, we'll get a knock on the Subang. That's across the road from each other. Don't think that will find the flush, though, as Best 1301 pushes up for Unicorn onto the compound of Victim Rise. Again, they've only got the 3 players. We saw them earlier on, but Jibbery with a nice nade to keep Best at bay. They don't... Well, they haven't been in many fights, so they should actually have a decent amount of utility as well here, Victim Rise. And if they can clean up Unicorn in quick succession, they can then collect on that as well, pick up whatever they've sort of brought over to this warehouse. Nice spray from Chibaret. Doesn't get the knock though onto that blue. Now he does though with the second effort. Nice little flick turn. Clee's going for the revive. Is that Molotov going to make it?
It looks
surely
pretty
not
decent from what I saw.
Okay, no, doesn't. Clee does get knocked after Best got revived though, and Unicorn, unfortunately, running out of time, running out of space, running out of players alive here to help contribute to this fight. It's just been one-way traffic. Victim Rise slaughtering them as they pushed into their surrounding area. Only Best remains.
Yeah, Best with a lot of work ahead of him right now. All 3 of Victim Rise are hard focused on Uchibrit, getting shot in the side from Division X. So a little bit of a reposition here. They can back up into the warehouse, but they really need to clear out Best before they can really do anything at the moment. There is a lot of teams trapped out onto the edge as Flash versus Angel Alliance is going on as well. Fury and Divine as well, fighting it out as Divine are trying to push in. I do see JN getting underneath Fury's compound. Might be able to actually pick up one onto Cow here if he's not careful. Cow will go down to JN. Fury.
This is a big fight.
This is a very big fight. Fury needs this one now. Waikikamu isn't able to get back in as Flash will pick that one up. So it's 2v2 right now.
Big fight for LG Divine as well, because they're down to just NamC and JN. And obviously they're still a point behind Buriram. Buriram's not going to get a massive amount from this game. They've only got the 2 players, but they are inside the circle, not many around them. So big fight for 2 different teams for two different reasons. Ronan does land the tag onto Flash. This might mean day trade, though, to spot LG Divine. Vice versa, though. NamC will take out Veronica. NamC and JN just have to push into the warehouse. Ronan and Flood, though, are waiting patiently, expecting the push imminently. No one wants to make the first move. No frag grenade, though, for Fury. Closes the door to try and avoid the flash. Closes it again. Mind games here from Ronan. Maybe just thinking too much about this, though, because of who they're up against, but it's working. The door open and closing means he hasn't been flashed, but they do know he's in that position. Do they know where Flood is, though? That's going to be the question at hand. As soon as they push onto Ronan, Flood needs to be the one to get that retrade. They go now. Now he peeks around the corner, but he dies immediately. LG Divine just playing the patience game to perfection. They find the 2 kills. They find an avenue forward in this game, and Fury just cannot get anything to work for them.
Yeah, but it still doesn't look too good for LG Divine here, as they've got not much space moving into the zone, and this blue is very, very dangerous right now. They've got a long way to go. They've got a lot of teams watching them, as Rocky Gyms will pick up NamC, JN all by himself now. And it's not looking like it's going to go too well.
Oh, there goes JN. Short-lived, but like a couple of games from last weekend, if you recall, Edge, they were able to get a few kills where they probably shouldn't have, where they were able to stay alive just that little bit longer. The entirety of PCS 3 now for LG Divine, if you look at sort of like extra chance points, they've probably got about 10 to 15 points maybe they shouldn't have gotten. And that's going to come back to bite potentially Buriram. In this case, it's already biting Fury. They're 29 points behind LG Divine with 6 games remaining. That could change, though, heading over to Erangel. Buriram, they've lost the lead. Don't know if they're going to be able to retake it with only the 2 players as well. But even if they don't retake it, it's not a big deal at this point in the game. It's not like it's the final game, obviously. 6 sacks will find the kill onto Los Santos. Sharper Esport just pretty much gatekeeping them. They're going to be very difficult to get into this circle now. Cerberus a good position. Ferox a great position as well, but they haven't been aggressive with this spot. I'm not sure if they've really gotten any kills. In fact, they haven't got a single kill yet.
No, that's right. It's going to be pretty difficult for Ferox to get any kills here until the very late game. They've got the position. They just need to keep their 3 members alive. If they can do that, they should be able to pick up a couple of kills on players trying to push into their compound, as long as they win their gunfights. So, depending on the circle here, this could be really good for Ferox. And this is, I think, where they need to sort of capitalize on these kills. They should be able to pick up someone to the likes of Cerberus. You've got all of Sharper looking to push in as well. You've got a lot of kills potential here, but whether you can actually get any is an entirely different story.
No chicken dinner yet for Ferox so far for PCS3 APAC. They've had 2 second place finishes. Big opportunity for them to break that duck to get a victory here. Fergus, though, 4 up for Division X and need to sweep Magic Esport very quickly. Imamart, Tonke, they're going to be 2 very tough players to get rid of, though. Even as a duo, these are the best 2 players for Magic Esport, just withstanding all of this utility somehow. Neither of them have been knocked just yet either. Despite the nades, IQ500 does throw one in. Surely this is going to get at least 1. It does from Neil. Umamar is knocked. Tonke will push up looking for the demonstration, but he's outnumbered. It was a 1 versus 3. Couldn't really blame him there in that scenario. As Buriram now push over to the tanks here, as Ferox need to keep them out here. They've got to withstand the push from Buriram closing in on their location. They've got the numbers, they've got the position, they should have the utility, and Sweet Soul does get the knock on a Canaxi. for encroaching upon their position. They're on the board with the kill this game. Rabbit will get the knock onto Long K of Division X. Down to the south, while they were still going for the revive as well. Onto IQ 500. So Hydra Gaming sort of pounced. They capitalized on this situation down to the south. Purple Mood. I don't even know how they were able to make it this far, considering how much of a gatekeeper that Sharper Esports had on them. To their credit, they do get into the top 8, but they do fall short of the mark, going out in 8th position. Edie stays alive. Those are placement points, and that does tie Burirem once again with LG Divine, but they don't have the kill tiebreaker anymore.
No, that's right, but it doesn't take much. They only need one extra team to go out here, and our zone is very congested on the south side, so you would imagine that the likes of Camels will go out, and there he does. So that'll put Burirem up in front in first position now, just from that 6th placement.
Still 4 alive for Hydra Gaming. Everyone else 3-2. Neil still up for Division X as Sixax and Rabbit from Sharper Esport and Hydra just ripped through Division X. Neil just trying to move with the blown up vehicle, use it as cover, but the blue zone is moving. He's running out of time, space, and health. Well, it's actually not moving just yet, but it will very, very shortly.
Division X actually putting themselves 1 point behind Fury as well, so they've caught up now. They're still 30 points behind the top 2. Will take a lot of work for them to start catching up, and especially coming into a Wrangle, which isn't their favoured map by any means. So for them to sort of catch up now is probably not really going to happen.
Burirem have retaken the lead, by the way. First place 1 point over LG Divine. Edie in a great spot as well to get more from this match, and I think they will. Placement point certainly going to go the way of Burirem, because Edie just has to hide and he's in the center of the circle. And these teams down to the south, like Hydra Gaming and Sharper Esport, are just going to kill each other. Really good game as well for Ferox. 3 up for them. 4 up though for Hydra Gaming. If they can get rid of Sharper Esport, which they're slowly doing, Tanoy is going to bleed out in the blue after being knocked by Mickey with the Molotov earlier. Now it's a 4 versus 2. There's no reason they should be losing anyone here, which means they can take 4 players into phase number 9. Rabbit with the headshot knock onto Kim Siva, and Hydra Gaming are making something of this match, looking to get out of the bottom 4.
I feel like Sixax here can actually make a play onto Hydra Gaming. They have a rough idea of where he is, but they don't really have the positional advantage to capitalize on it. As Cerberus is starting to push towards Edie now, looking for that clear. Edie,
does he know where they're coming from?
No, it doesn't look like it. He is looking the opposite way, looking to run into that smoke. He will do so. Ferox
I think it went too early.
Definitely too early. I think Edie could have waited there and just held the line, and then when Cerberus pushed up, potentially picked up like 1 or 2 knocks. But it just was not meant to be at this point.
Well, regardless, Edie did get Burirem back into first place as we are down to the final 4 teams here for match number 18. Ferox with 3, Cerberus with 3, Hydra Gaming with 4. They've got a great position to win this game. They're the favorites. They can watch from the outside. They've got Simon and Rabbit who can be the front line. Tuan Robo and Mickey are the anchors. At the back, they're going to be able to watch towards the center dot the whole way through. They are out in the open, though, susceptible to being knocked down, and if they do get knocked, they're basically as good as dead. Cerberus with 3 will be able to hug the edge of the fence line, so they shouldn't really be too much of a target to save Ferox, at least for the time being. Sixax is a solo, and that's basically the gist of it here for the end of this match. Ferox have been fed for quite a while. Sharper Esport have been quite the beneficiaries of the circle this match as well, and the same can be said for Cerberus. But Hydra Gaming played it well down to the south. There's a nade up top for Rabbit. Talk about finding some late game loot. Could that nade be a difference maker? Does spot Sixax, will flush him out. Sololzi does eliminate Sweet Soul. Second kill of the game for Cerberus. Ferox down to 2. Bryn's copping it hard. A lot of damage as Subang puts the pressure as well into Hydra Gaming from above. Oh, bye-bye. You're both gone, and you don't even know it. From above, Rabbit with a double. 7 kills for Hydra Gaming, and they should go on and win this game now. 4 versus 3. Rabbit, though, gets knocked by Basil. That's a big knock. Opens up the opportunity for Cerberus Esports, potentially, to get back into this. Sololzi's knocked, though, as well. 2 versus 3 remaining.
I feel like if Rabbit stayed alive in that position, that would have been the winning position for Hydra Gaming here. They've still got their 4. They've got 2 knocked out currently, getting 1 res back up. 2 players alive for Cerberus. The nade, will it do enough? It will. It'll pick up Simon. And Simon will get his bleed out onto Sololzy. So it's a 2v2 now. Basil, next nade comes out and the cleanup.
Oh my god.
Cerberus pick up their 2nd in a row.
Big
Is this the
finish.
comeback story?
Yeah, well, this is the thing, right? They've won 2 in a row now. That was from a very difficult position as well. I really thought Hydra Gaming should have gone on and won that from the position that they held in the fields. And yet Cerberus landed the shots that they needed to land. The clutch moments, the clutch execution from a top team. And speaking of top, they're in the top 3. That's how much of a comeback they've had. They have taken Fury's position. They've leapfrogged them. They're 1 point. It's only 1 point, but they're in the top 3, and it puts them 30 points behind Buriram with 6 games to go. They are more than just a contender. They're right up in the opportunity of taking first place, and Division X is not far behind them either on 130 points. We've got a top 5 race here, Edge, and as we sort of close tonight out, going over to Erangel, it's just a matter of will that top 5 stay, or will 2 teams sort of fall away and we go back to a bit of a top 3? Let's look at the recap highlights from this match, which there really wasn't much in the first 10 minutes, to be fair. Look, that's why we're already at the 13.5-minute mark. There wasn't much to go off, but towards the end, it really opened up.
Yeah, and definitely, it always happens around those city endings. It always gets very intense and hectic towards the end. People can stay in their houses and not really need to move, and then, you know, it comes down to that 5th, 6th circle where everyone needs to shift from their buildings and their positions, and it just comes alive, and that's exactly what we saw in this game.
Certainly saw that. LG Divine didn't have the easiest trek in this match, losing a couple of players early. They did win a big fight in the 2 versus 2 against Fury, which ultimately has had some pretty big ramifications for Fury. They drop out of the top 3 for the first time in a long time. Certainly in as many weekends. It would have been maybe weekend 1 where they weren't in the top 3, but Cerberus, this is where they got going. You can see that was actually the first kill that they acquired. That was at the end of the match. There's their 2nd, and yet they finished quite strongly in this match towards the end. Rabbit was sneaky up top, like a sneaky ninja, and the nade was the difference maker. It denies the res. Chunks to end Robo, and just quickly Cerberus come out with a 6-kill win. So from 0 kills after about almost 28 minutes, then they get 6 kills towards the end and a chicken dinner. 16 points essentially acquired with about 5 minutes to go in the round.
Yeah, Cerberus played that brilliantly. They played their close quarter fights pretty much to perfection. I feel like the winning moment was actually Rabbit dying on top of that silo.
Yeah.
Like, that was Hydra's game to lose. And Rabbit had such a strong position on top that as soon as he got picked off, it was pretty much lights out for Hydra there.
16 points gained for Cerberus Esports as they climb into the top 3. In terms of chicken dinners now, they've got 3 in total across the entirety of PCS3 APAC. The only teams with more is obviously Buriram and LG Divine, 4 and 5 respectively. So they're not far off the pace in terms of winning. They've had a couple of 3rd place performances as well, 2 in fact. A 4th place, a couple of 5th place, so they place well. They've been placing well for pretty much the entirety of the event. And I think I said it at the start of the night, but for Cerberus, this is the best they've looked for 2020, and for the first time feels like they're reaching their expectations.
Absolutely. Cerberus is, the team PCS2, PCS3, we've said they've been really well in their regions, and they've looked incredibly strong, but until now, they really haven't shown it, and it's great to see them coming back, them putting some wins on the board, and putting themselves in that top 3 position where realistically, I would have sort of expected them to be there in PCS2 as well.
The only other team that has multiple chicken dinners besides the top 3 is Purple Mood Esports, who just cracked the triple digits. They're on 103 points in 7th place. Still quite a few teams, though, just directly below them that aren't too far away. But in terms of the top 5, this is what I was sort of touching on the very end of that match. Division X Gaming 130 points, Fury 131 points, Cerberus 132 points. Crazy how close those 3 teams are. And then there's obviously still a bit of a gap to then the top 2, LG Divine and Buriram United Esports. But with 6 games to go, if we're going to sit here and say, Fury's still got a chance, well, then that means Cerberus have got a chance, and that means Division X have a chance. So for me, 6 games to go. The top 5 race is well and truly on. It's a 30-point deficit if you are Division X Gaming. Well, 32 points. But we'll just say, look, for those 3 teams, it's 30 points, 6 games, not impossible. And Cerberus Esports has sort of laid the blueprint as to how you can get those points very quickly.
Yeah, that's right. And especially coming into Erangel now, if you're Fury, this needs to be your map. This needs to be 2 wins pretty much to secure yourself in that first position for the end of the night and going on to tomorrow. We need to see something big from Fury. Their Miramar hasn't been all that we've expected, so we really need just a big game.
On the flip side, though, for I believe it was Division X Gaming, their Erangel hasn't been that great. So then you've got that sort of team there that needs to bring it on Erangel. They've been great on Miramar. Well, we've played Miramar. It's finished now. We've got 2 games of Erangel to come. So if they don't bring the Miramar form over to Erangel, well, then maybe they won't be able to make it a top 5 with the 4 games to go tomorrow. Regardless, that's Miramar done and dusted. We've got ourselves a very, very close top 5, especially the 2-horse race at the very tippity top. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, we will transition over to the lovely, luscious Erangel. Welcome back on in. We've gone through 2 games. 2 games to go. Means we're halfway through the show tonight. Of course, it's the final weekend for PCS3 APAC. All of the votes are locked in. Everything's locked in except for the winner. We don't know who that's going to be. And right now, I've got no idea considering how close Buriram and LG Divine are at the top 2. Then you got the next 3. Fury, Division X. You've got Cerberus now who have just won 2 in a row. They're all basically on 130 points and they're all about 30 points behind the top 2 Edge. It's an intriguing dynamic that I really hope by the end of our upcoming 2 Erangel games, which apparently we're getting straight into, we will have a bit more of a clearer picture for tomorrow night.
Yeah, well, we wanted some more interesting games. We wanted some more competitors, and we've definitely got it at this point. We've got, realistically, 5 teams here who can win. There is a bit of a gap between our 3rd to 5th place, but you know, it doesn't take much. You have one good game, you get yourself maybe 10 points behind Buriram and LG Divine, and then you have another good game after that, and who knows? So coming into these Erangels, I think they'll probably be the most pivotal games of the tournament, and especially coming into the final day.
So 2 games to go tonight, 4 games to go tomorrow. And you can see the rankings for Erangel. Buriram, the leaders there. LG Divine, well, their point drop-off is pretty noticeable compared to Miramar. Fury as well, definitely the better Erangel team. And this is what I'm saying, that when it's all said and done, when we get through these 2 games on Erangel, I think we will know a bit more of the picture. Because right now it feels like we've got half the puzzle and there's a few pieces missing because we've seen Miramar. All right, a couple of teams a little bit more lackluster on Miramar compared to Erangel. Now let's go over to Erangel, see what they can do. It makes it very pivotal, though, for Fury, who would be sitting back, especially some of their fans probably going, all right, it's okay. They're much better on Erangel. They'll get back into it there. If they don't do well in this match and the next match, I don't see how they're going to be able to come back with just 4 games remaining. So very much do or die already for Fury, Division X as well, and of course Cerberus, who have made a late comeback.
And Division X haven't had the best Erangels to date. They've got 29 of their, what are they? 130 points. So 101 points coming from Miramar. That goes to show what their Erangel is like at the moment. So for Division X to really solidify themselves in this top 5, they need to have some even average games on Erangel. I think they can keep themselves in that top 5 sharp and not very far behind, but they just need to do a little bit to keep themselves.
Buriram United right now, 1st place, only 12.3% though for the Pick'ems. So apparently there weren't too many that wanted to back them in for the win. A decent amount, but the majority going for LG Divine, which, look, still 6 games to play. No reason that LG Divine can't find the gear that they once had at the beginning of the season. But in terms of the storyline, it's been a very similar play out for LG Divine to PCS2, where, of course, in PCS2, LG Divine got off to a great start there as well. In fact, a worse start than technically PCS3. Despite that, they had a bigger lead and they held it for longer. And despite their 5 out of 7 wins to start PCS3, they've kind of slowed down a lot earlier, and Buriram was able to keep the pace for a lot longer. And so now towards the end, where LG Divine have sort of run out of steam, Buriram are looking to overtake them.
Yeah, I think for the likes of Buriram and even Fury to a certain extent, is they know that they can catch up, right? So they did it the last time. They closed the gap, and this time they had a lot more leeway. So for Buriram to put themselves in that 1st position now, they've done it early, they've got it out of the way, and it's all just a matter of holding that now, and that's probably the hardest part. You know, when you don't know how many points you actually need to have each game to catch up, it makes it a little bit difficult. Ooh, Levi's with a really nice opener onto Simon T here, but it looks like the rest of Hydra Gaming is coming in hard and fast. Levi not able to get another one as Rabbit will take him down. The rest of LG Divine, though, looks like they're actually going to commit. NAMC gets taken down. Jun will get a return onto Mickey. There is 1 player down for Hydra, or 2 players down for Hydra at the moment, and 1 flushed out for Divine. Jayand will get the flush onto Mickey as well. John
They can
needs
still turn
to
this
do some
around.
work.
I know it's
Absolutely.
Levi's. Namsy's still obviously bleeding out. Jano knocked by Rabbit. John expecting the push to come, but he's up for the task and he wins it. To end Robo, the solo, the last one remaining now for Hydra Gaming. Vietnam versus Vietnam here as well. Jun is going to be caught from behind, but he was expecting and waiting for it. He landed the headshot, but it still wasn't enough. LG Divine are out in last place, but they did get 3 kills, so it's not a donut edge. They got something. Technically, they take back top spot, but they're not going to be able to gain anything else this game. Big effort from Hydra Gaming. And that means that LG Divine have to sit on the sidelines. Everyone also, you know, Fury, Buriram, they would have been watching that kill feed and would have seen, right, they're out, they're gone. We've got to capitalize.
Yeah, that's right. And Fury looks pretty confident in their rotate now, knowing that Divine normally takes up a lot of real estate in this area, Hydra Gaming as well. And it looks like Fury are just probably going to breach onto Hydra Gaming now. They do look to swerve away, but they do come back in as we say that. So Chuan Robo really needs to just get out of here, I think. I think that's the smart play, but like Kikamukau, a lot of damage. not enough there. And he will just bail right now. Oh, he's actually getting chased down by Flood. Flood gets the seed swap onto Chuan Robo. Oh, that's what we love to see. Nice little seat swap in PUBG.
When you're hungry for kills, that's what it looks like. Flood did not give up on the play. The seat swap eliminated Tuan Robo. Fury finding a kill. Well executed in the end. It started off with a bit of team damage as well. Ronan was peppering Waikika, who almost got the knock. Regardless, that kill does put Fury back into 3rd place. Every kill so important as well towards the back end, towards the end of these matches for PCS3 APAC. Look at that circle, though. You would think it is going to be more so on the north side of the Ross River rather than the south side, which is why you're seeing the teams commit early to that north side. It's a lot easier as well to then come to the south side if required, which I think we can both agree, Edge, it's very unlikely that it's going to go to the south the way that we've seen this circle play out time and time again. And Fury's not in a bad position. Neither is Magic Esports, Angel Alliance, Division X over towards shooting range. Buriram will come in late, but that suits their playstyle. Even if maybe this portion of Erangel is not the best for it, I think that that's still something that they're okay with coming in late.
Yeah, definitely. And I think if Fury can keep their players alive, it was looking a bit sketchy for a moment there. They've got a really good split on the northern end, so whatever the circle does end up doing, if it goes to the north of the river, they'll be in a lovely spot. And for the likes of Buriram, they are on that southern edge around Pachinki now. It looks like they're just going to play their style. They're going to sit up on the edge and just hold out and wait for what the next circle brings, and then make their decision after that.
I'll tell you what, though, we've been quite blessed with the finale for PCS3 APAC, the finale of APAC PUBG in general for 2020. It's everything you sort of hope for in a tournament. Yeah, close finish between at least a minimum of 2 teams going neck and neck, but then there's also a mini pack, the peloton, as Jordan likes to call it, just below them that are all still in striking distance if they can find wins and find high point games for all 3 of Fury, Cerberus, and Division X. I mean, even theoretically, from an internal perspective, Sharper Esport would probably still give themselves a very slim chance if they can have some massive games to close out tonight. From an outsider perspective, I'm not sure I would share the same sentiment, but really as players, you've got to have those positive thoughts that you can still come back. And in saying that, I think their goal would probably be more so to finish in the top 5, which is certainly achievable, only 15 points behind Division X Gaming. 8.5 minutes gone, though, Edge, and 14 teams, 56 alive. An absolute stark contrast to Miramar.
Yeah, that's right. Miramar does seem to be that map that's a little bit more spaced out, so teams can generally get their positions no matter whether it's a compound or a set of defilades that they can play through. And they don't generally, you don't generally see team wipes early on unless you've got LG Divine making early breaches. But this will be an interesting circle with a little bit of a 50-50 split, a little bit favoring towards the north side. Fury, who we were saying was in one of those really nice spots, is now maybe not in the best spot as they're currently on the edge of the zone. So be very interesting game, and I love that we've got a little bit of a spice happening for our Erangels now.
Fear going to be eliminated. Kim Siver finding that frag for Sharper Esport. Kim Siver being the best player for Sharper Esport this event, no doubt about it. Loki's going to be pushing out. I think he's going to get eliminated here, surely. Somehow doesn't even get knocked coming out of that UAZ at 100 miles an hour. Face planting the wall, essentially. Stayed alive. Now gets knocked in the end, though, by Kim Siver, who's single-handedly making something here for Sharper Esport. And once again, Bay just cannot win fights. That's been the downfall. At the end of the day, they're just not winning their fights. They're just not winning anything. And that's why they're down to 11th, almost down to 12th.
It was a little bit of an unlucky pull-up there by Jukesy, picking up the nade from the other side of the wall, which was a little bit of an interesting one in my eyes, but nonetheless, Sharper Esports looking to come in very strong for our Erangel now. Neverhor trying to pick up the res onto Jukesy, actually being surrounded by the players but not being pushed up on at the moment. Yeah, it's not looking good for Jukesy at the moment.
It hasn't looked good for Jukesy all night. First it's the flash grenade, then it's the frag grenade. And really from here as well, it just makes it... Was that through the wall as well?
I have no idea what's going on right now.
I swear that was through the wall. I'm not even... what? Or was that outside?
I'm not entirely sure, but Jukesy is a magnet right now.
Oh, Jukesy's just like, that's it, I've had enough. I'm not doing this anymore. I swear to God that was through the wall. Oh, no. Maybe it's like just that wall specifically. I don't know. Poor Jukesy. For those who don't realize, he copped a flash grenade in the, I think it was the last game, or was it the game before that as well, through a wall? Man.
Yeah, that Miramar game as well wasn't the best for them, having Divine do the first breach on them. And I think it was the first game where Divine breached them in the long building.
Yeah. They haven't really been able to play their own game tonight as a whole for Battle Arena Elites. They've just been under so much pressure. Unfortunately, they bow out once again. Only one game to go tonight. 89 points. Have not been able to replicate the PCS2 performance, which was a really decent performance. I think in the end it was the top 5 finish from recollection. BRM on the move, though. They're going to take control of apartments and school along with this crate, which has already been looted. MK14. But it's a gamble, isn't it? Right now, you're down to this 50-50 gas. Phase 3 does like to get rid of the water, even if it doesn't need to. If it does it now, you would think it would favor the north side. And looking at the map from what I can see, and now what you guys can see as well, teams are favoring that north side. There's a select few around Rosok, School and Apps down to the south. And well, that basically just gives us the indication we're going north now. So it does do the job. There is a bit of water. There are still quite a few avenues over to the north side. Doesn't need to be sort of the desperate rush across. But the sooner you can get to the north side, the better if you are, say, Daytrade, BRM, or Sharper Esport.
Yeah, and even Ferox, they should be grouping up any moment now, as Bryn and Sweet Soul do have that rather central position. It will shift off the water next zone, but they'll still be in an incredibly good spot to work up the hill that Angel Alliance has. Angel Alliance with a lot of ground to control at the moment, and a lot of teams will be looking to pull up on the side of that hill. So the likes of From the Future, they do control the side at the moment, but it's going to get very hectic. We've got a lot of teams looking to make their rotations, looking to come across the bridge and just make their way onto that north side.
This is going to be a big turning point game, though, for Fury. North side, they've got Purple Moon, Magic Esport that they need to get through on the far north side. If they can't get through this sort of wall, well, then that means they'll die, and it's going to be another sort of nothing game for them. But if they can get through, kills aplenty, decent position around the south of shooting range. It's not going to be easy, though, and you can kind of see the elevation that Purple Moon have got. They are moving away, though. Boss Sense is going to start heading in a more southern direction, which can allow Fury to actually get up this plane of elevation. which is actually going to help them a lot here. So Purple Mood playing a bit more defensive rather than the offensive in looking to sort of gatekeep Fury. They will go the long way. They will go around shooting range, which in turn should put them in the path of Division X Gaming.
And this could be a good start for Division X Gaming as well. If Fury pulls up on the edge of zone near them, they've got nice little areas there, a nice new barracks added in Erangel 2.0 that they can play off and hold other teams out. But Fury looks like they'll just be playing around the outside of the shooting range wall, looking to put the pressure on towards Purple Mood, as Division X are actually trying to gatekeep them here as well. Not really the greatest spot, but it is a position that Fury can hold for now.
30 seconds until phase number 4, which will, of course, eradicate the very south portion of this phase 3 circle. So it'll centralize on top of Ferox, VTR, Angel Alliance from the future. Should be in a good spot as well. They'll be on the west side of the phase 4 circle. This is tough for Fury. Really, really difficult position. They definitely need an absolute hard north feed, which is possible because it is going to go northern. How northern is it going to go? We don't know. 3 seconds until we find out. Fury need a bit more time here to wiggle out of shooting range, and they get that time. They get a reprieve. But all it means is it just extending the inevitable? Are they still just not going to be able to manage to get out anyway? Regardless, they got a bit more time to think about it.
I feel like this circle here, this is the kind of circle that will force Division X to not commit so heavily on holding out Fury here. So they'll be just looking to control their hill. They might have one person dedicated to watching Fury so they don't get pushed from behind. But even that, as we see Buriram and Sharper starting to fight while Daytrade's picking off the players from Sharper at the same time, as Tino just needs to get out of here. He's the last player left for Sharper, and Buriram's just fully taken their position for now.
Quick note for the Philippine fans, Angel Alliance have been completely hard-fed here for phase 4. They're looking good. Good position over at the doubles. They're actually spreading out as well, looking to find kills. So good spot for them. Godmeow's going to get revived. The VTR just going to fall back to their compound, which is not inside of the circle, but they can use it for the time being as Buriram are pushing out. Buriram as well now have to deal with Daytrade coming over the bridge, which they've just accomplished. And they are now going to start to surround Buriram United. Of course, LG Divine, if you've just joined us, they went out in last place, only finding the 3 kills in the very early on against Hydra Gaming. The Buriram with a chance to really extend the lead here, but if they do get swept up down to the southeast and eliminated early, they may get nothing from this game as well as a whole. Venotica's going to be going out to Chibarit of VTR. Samoy just buying some time here. Tanoy actually ended up flashing himself. Kamal's watching it. Got Samoy. Unfortunately for tonight, he's completely outnumbered here against VTR, popping off in the kill feed down to the southeast. It's Buriram versus Daytrade. Ferox VTR as well, keeping an eye on it, but not really getting involved apparently. We can kind of see it in the minimap as well, down to the bottom right hand of the screen as we transition to it now. Edie was knocked, but Buriram coming out on top. They found an early kill in the fight. There's a couple of downed players. Norins and Flash moving ahead now for Daytrade, but with the revive successfully onto Edie, Buriram have got all 4 up, and they've got this high ground as well. Chibarit is the one to watch far off into the distance. Might be able to have an impact against Buriram. For the most part, Daytrade up against it.
Yeah, that's right. And VTR will finally clean out the last Sharper player in Tino. So he will be eliminated in that 13th position. We've still got 12 teams left. Buriram trying to clean up Flash and Norins, who are being a little bit of a pest here, and it looks like Ferox is pushing out of their compound as well to third party this. Rain will pick up one onto Canaxi, but Edie will clean up Flash and Noreen. So they do finish the fight. Fury onto Purple Mood. They've got 2 knocked out at the moment. Flood and Inside Down. Waikigamukau is already dead, and it's all left up to Ronan now. They do have 5 kills, so they've got themselves a little bit, but slowly but surely getting pushed up on by now by Magic Esports.
Yeah, not much Ronan could really do from there. 5 kills. It makes the gap to Buriram 30 at the moment, 27 to LG Divine for Fury. It's just not enough on Erangel. They needed more. They do have one more opportunity in the game to follow, but as we sort of progress through these games, we're not seeing the Fury that we saw at the end of PCS2, where they were just charging home, winning games, having strong performances. In this case, they're just sort of limping towards the finish line. Cerberus have only got one player alive as well, so much for this sort of top 5. Division X do have 4 up though, and they can push in pretty comfortably from the northwest part of the circle. If they want, they could even wrap to the north and go and try and really pinch Magic Esport. Looks like they're going to go actually straight for the center position here for phase 5. Buriram, there's a lot of teams around Buriram. Ferox, VTR, they've only got the 3 players, but a lot of kill opportunities await them potentially heading into the future.
If Buriram can make their way out of this very, very rough position, they are getting gate kept by 2 teams. But if they can make it out, I definitely think that they can pick up a couple of kills here. They can use the Deathlades moving towards the hill in their favor, and if they can hold that and hold out the likes of Ferox, they might be in with a couple of kills and potentially some placements. But Monty does pick up 1. Sweet Soul will get another onto Nordra. It's all left up to 1 player now for Buriram. I believe that's Edie. So he's up against the wall. He's got VTR on one side, and VTR will actually clean him up there.
So a match where LG Divine don't get much in way of points is going to see their competitors also struggle to get a decent amount of points as well. It's essentially a net nothing sort of game, which is good news for Buriram and LG Divine. It makes it very difficult then for Fury, Cerberus, Division X to catch up, because they are running out of games. Only 5 games to play after this. Makes it difficult for those 3 teams in particular. Obviously, this was the best case scenario for LG Divine. They picked up 3 kills, but Buriram didn't achieve much, and the teams below them really didn't achieve much. Division X could still do so. They got 3 players alive. Long K, IQ 500, and Fergus. IQ 500 not at the compound though, and I think Fergus, is he going to try and pick him up? I believe that's what he's trying to do.
Might be a big play if Fergus can actually pick him up, but he does just position himself on the lower side of this hill. Maybe just playing for placement here at this stage, not really wanting to take the compound fight, leaving Long K in there by himself. They do have Unicorn Cyber up on the hill, and it looks like, yeah, Long K will just opt to leave as well. So feeling that the edge of the hill is a better play, but they do have all of Magic Esports eyeing them up as they're making their way in now.
8 teams, 28 alive. It's going to be a Southwestern hard shift for phase number 6 from the future. Still have their compound in play. So does Angel Alliance. Ferox down to the south as well. So in retrospect, when we look at this game, this is a match where the teams in the middle and the bottom of the pack are going to be able to capitalize the most, respectively, rather than the teams at the top end, unless Division X can somehow find a way to essentially wipe out Magic Esports and then push in from the north. That's really the avenue for them to capitalize on the misfortunes of the top 3 teams and look to get some points for themselves here in this match, which has been a match that's, well, been hard to come by for the top teams in terms of getting points. 5 kills for Magic Esport, though, gets them a little bit further separation from Angel Alliance in 9th spot at the moment.
Yeah, that's right. It's more of our mid-pack we're looking at the moment. The Magic Esports, Angel Alliance, VTR, they're all in close proximity from the future. Probably be hoping that they can have a decent game here and can quite easily actually put themselves almost into that top 8 if they can get a win out of this game. VTR pushing into the center of the zone, putting himself, Seymour, in a very good position. As long as he doesn't get spotted here, it's a great spot. Should be able to push into the top 5 teams later. But we've still got the likes of Division X and Magic Esports who still need to push into the circle. They've got Angel Alliance on the outskirts, and then they've got From the Future just on the other side. So it does look like Magic Esports will be making that same rotation that VTR made and just looking to put themselves in the center of the zone.
Send it past a couple of teams. One runs into a tree. Seat swap as well. That's going to be Valix, though. Knocked by Gemforce. What a successful seat swap. Imamar's also knocked as well inside of the smoke. That would be an underarm nade. The pressure, though, from Sulaby is too much for Gemforce, who Had some very heroic plays there. MMR definitely going to bleed out. Danfoss with a very critical 2 kills for Victim Rise. That's a 22 alive, 7 teams. Cerberus. Finally, the solo for Subang will be eliminated. Did a pretty decent job to at least get them a placement point. Was a solo for the majority of this game. And Division X continued to just enjoy the fact that everyone around them is dying, which gets them into the circle with still 3 players intact. I mean, there's not too many teams with 4 up. There's only Ferox from the Future and Angel Alliance that have got 4 up.
Yeah, it's quite a decent spot from Division X, well, relatively until this circle. Now that this circle has popped, they don't really have too many options. They'll need to take a fight, whether it's on From the Future or Angel Alliance. They just need to play for kills at the moment, because placement's kind of not really in their reach at the moment. Ferox actually have made their way into the zone. Monty's got himself a decent spot on the south side. Victim Rise still has Camels left alive. Magic Gaming not too far away. Monty will look to return some shots as Tonkei does pick up Bryn. The knockout will be there, but I believe Bryn will be revived shortly.
A7 Blue now on the move. As you said, Bryn is going to be revived, picked back up. They can get moving. The good news for Ferox as well now is that the majority of the teams are more towards the west and northern portions of the circle. They can push in comfortably, although as I say that, Rangers gets sacked by Nan of Angel Alliance. Gypsy Danger's knocked. Zuzu. I see what he can find. 3 kills for From the Future. Little success right now so far tonight. They need something from this, but the fact that all 3 are sort of huddled together does not spell good news. Very much the meat in the sandwich. A lot of teams looking at their direction right now. Long K pushing right up to this fence line as well. He's not going to be able to see anything. A flash is going to be thrown way too far, but it does successfully land onto Mipinzuzu. They turn around Long K, but it's actually going to be the other 2 players, the anchors there for Division X Gaming. Long K just now on the edge of the smoke, catches Hexagon. Mipinzuzu, the last one standing for From the Future. It's a 3K for Division X Gaming. In the end, though, they do get all 4 members of From the Future. And in the end, they've still got, what is it going to be, 3 players alive down to the final 4 teams, and should be able to leapfrog Fury and get into the top 3. IQ 500 gets the flanking Elgin bots as well. That was going to be potentially the nail in the coffin. And they deal with him.
They do, and now Magic Esports has to deal with Ferox. And as I say that, they just clean up Bryn and Sweet Soul, the last 2 players. Long K proning it up, looking towards Angel Alliance. Angel Alliance still 3 strong. Magic Esports with 2 left. Evil Patrick will get his flush onto Fergus, and Nan's currently holding the center of the zone for Angel Alliance right now. So even if Long K, never mind, Long K is now dead to Valax. So we're up to a 2v3. Magic Esports with 2. Angel Alliance on 3, and Angel Alliance probably holding the higher tier position right now with Nan in the dead center of the circle.
They started today in the top 8. Did Angel Alliance a win here? Gets them back into the top 8. Oh, Valix spotted. Great headshot from Evil Patrick, though the shots to follow, less than ideal. That's not going to go on the montage highlight reel, but he does get the knock onto Valix in the end, and Sulaby in a 1 versus 3. Angel Alliance from the Philippines are going to find their first chicken dinner for PCS 3 APAC, unless Sulaby can somehow pull off a 1 versus 3. Not likely, you would think from here. Credit to Angel Alliance. This feels like it has been coming for quite a while. Their performances have been outstanding to watch so far for PCS 3 APAC. They've deserved a top 8 finish. Still a couple of games to go, but they are going to find this first chicken dinner. 7-kill win for Angel Alliance, back into the top 8. And what a successful PCS 3 event it has been for the team from the Philippines.
Yeah, and a chicken dinner on Erangel of all maps. So really well played from Angel Alliance. Their Erangels haven't been ideal. They came back last week a little bit with a little bit more consistency, and now they're coming out with the win. So really good turnaround for Angel Alliance, not only relying on Miramar.
No, exactly right. Yeah, you bring up a good point. Miramar was the map that Angel Alliance were, well, dominating on significantly in the early goings of PCS 3 APAC, and they kind of fell away for a little bit until they could finally also improve on Erangel. And kind of ironic that it's Erangel that they actually get their first win of the tournament on. We go straight to the highlights though, and it's LG Divine, of course, at the very beginning of the game against Hydra Gaming. They won it and they lost it. They got 3 kills, but in the end, they had 4 deaths. So they went out in last place. Flood hunting and mowing down the final player of Hydra Gaming. Bay, well, commiserations. They've just had an awful day. They've had an awful tournament, really, in retrospect. Buriram, I mean, they did their usual. They got quite a few kills. They continue to maintain that top spot. But for the most part, this game in particular was the game for the little guys. The guys down the bottom and the guys in the middle of the pack. They dominated towards the back end of the match.
Yeah, and as well for Division X, they put themselves up into top 3. So leapfrogging both Cerberus and Fury, they got themselves up there. They've put themselves within 25 points of that top 2 spot. So, you know, our competition is still definitely rolling. No one's a clear winner. We've still got multiple teams who are still in it, and it's looking pretty exciting.
Yeah, but as we sort of get closer to the conclusion of PCS 3, it means we're running out of games, right? You know, you speak about the fact that there's still a decent amount of teams that can compete. Credit to Division X Gaming, by the way, 25 points behind Buriram, so they were able to capitalize, creep up a little bit through the shortcomings, of course, of our top 2 teams, LG Divine and Buriram. Fury, though, didn't, and Cerberus certainly did it. To be fair, Cerberus had just won 2 games in a row prior. It would have been asking a lot of them to have 3 sort of really big games in a row, but regardless, you know, as we get down to the fact, there's only 5 games left. So when you're looking at 25 or 35 point deficits, you're running out of games. You're now in a position where you're hoping, you're praying that LG Divine continue to have these sort of 3-point performances. Same for Buriram United. And it just seems to me that it's very unlikely both of them will start putting out donuts, while teams like Fury, Cerberus will start putting out wins. And that's basically what needs to happen from the next game onwards.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Fury needs to have better games, and they also need Buriram and LG Divine to have bad games. And I realistically don't think that both of those things are going to happen. We can have Fury who has good games, but I think at the same time you'll have a Buriram or you'll have an LG who has an equally good game.
Yep. For Division X Gaming, though, yeah, they're less impacted, I guess, because it's 25 points. That's, you know, you can take out 20 points. It's the old saying, but a win and 10 kills, that's 20 points. Then if Buriram and LG Divine don't really get too much, you're looking at probably then a single point deficit. So realistically, they've got obviously a much better chance because they've got more points. But 5 games to go. And the thing for me is that Division X Gaming are playing better. Cerberus are playing better. LG Divine, a bit shaky, I think is very much fair. I mean, LG Divine actually haven't won a game despite having 5 wins since round 7. That is a crazy amount of time since day number 2. So it's been 12 matches now, and LG Divine have not had a win in those 12 matches. They've gone ice cold. But Division X looking good. Cerberus looking good. Buriram looking good. I think Division X, if they can find a win to close out today, they give themselves a huge chance tomorrow night.
Absolutely. I think it's been a bit of a roller coaster for Division X. We were saying that, you know, 101 of their points before this game were from Miramar, and now they've had a good wrangle. So maybe with that bit of confidence, they can really bring it in for the next one. And then coming into tomorrow night, if they have 2 good Miramars starting off the game, like the night, who knows? They could see themselves in first position quite easily.
It's still very much, though, the Buriram and LG Divine show closing out this day. We've got one more game to follow, though, and we'll see whether or not the likes of Division X can continue to close the gap. Three matches in the books, one to go today for the final weekend of PCS3 APAC. Of course, tomorrow night will then be the final 4 games. So we're not quite at the finish line, but Edge, we are approaching it. We can see it. We've just gone around the final corner. 5 games to go. Obviously, for Buriram and LG Divine, the fate really for them is in their own hands. The 3 teams below them, though, well, they need to perform, but they also need other things to go their way as well.
Absolutely, they need to do a lot of work to put themselves back up there into the contest. For the likes of all of our teams, I think this is the point where even if you're not up there in the top 5, even if you're not in the top 10, this is kind of where it's like, all right, we've got nothing to lose now. We've got everything to gain. We need to come out. We need to have big games. We need to put all of our pieces on the board and just go ham. Like, you can't leave anything to chance at this point.
Yeah, you've really got nothing to save. It's the last event for 2020 as well. There's no hiding strats. There's no trying to save things for next time. It's do or die, especially for Division X, Fury, Cerberus. You've just got to give everything you've got. Without playing too aggressive and too off meta, you've got to be able to still hold your ground, play your play style, back yourselves in. Don't try and change too much, I guess. But in terms of tomorrow night, just I guess a bit of an early preview, do you expect to see any hot dropping if, you know, we get towards the final games and it is as close as it is right now?
I think if it's still this close, there won't be any, because teams will have to just hope that they've got what it takes to really push it through. There could be hot drops potentially from other teams. I don't think our top 2 will do anything. I don't think Buriram or Divine will go for a hot drop. Maybe the likes of Fury, Cerberus, or Division X might hot drop onto one of those teams to try and give themselves the advantage. But we'll just have to leave it to tomorrow to see that much.
We saw, I think, a little bit of it for PCS too when it did get close and down to the wire. And you're right, if it's going to come from anyone, probably Cerberus, Fury, or Division X. If you're about 15, 20 points behind, 1 or 2 games to go, maybe you've got to pull the trigger. Regardless, the final game tonight, it's Erangel. It's match 22-0. 4 games to play after this, which of course will be all tomorrow night to close out PCS 3 APAC, to close out PUBG for 2020 in the APAC region. Again, a reminder, of course, the European region will be on after this, not quite immediately, a couple of hours between the broadcasts, but they will be kickstarting their final weekend as well. North America and Asia already concluding earlier on yesterday. Sonics going back-to-back with winning PCS 2 and now winning PCS 3, and MCG taking out PCS Asia. LG Divine looking to follow in the footsteps of Sonics and go for back-to-back victories. Buriram, though, well, they're looking to find their first PCS event win for 2020. One that I feel like has been coming. That's a bit due for them. They've always been second or third, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. But this time, they're in a much better position than they've ever been before Edge. 5 games left, they're in top spot.
Yeah, this is pretty unusual for Buriram. They've always seen themselves around that 2nd to 4th place coming into the later edges of the game. So realistically, like, this should be their tournament, right? Like, they've come back so heavy into the later games and they've shown how strong they are towards that tail end, but they've just never made it all the way. But now they've got a little bit of room to move with, that they might be able to bring it home.
There's something a bit different here from Fury, I guess. See what they elect to do from here. Battle Arena Elites, though. Sophia coming in very quiet here. Poochills. At this point, I kind of expect Poochills to just eliminate Sophia. And that's got nothing to do with Sophia. It's just more so the luck of Bay. And that's the luck of Bay so far today. What did I say? I feel like I've just jinxed him, but you could feel it. You could feel it every time Bay is next to an opponent, whoever it is, whether it's Sophia, Navahor, Loki's, that doesn't matter. They just die. And again, to close out the final night, they are at a disadvantage.
It definitely hasn't been the tournament for Bay. It's pretty bad, like, feels bad looking onto it, because they had such potential coming in. They had put themselves in 3rd position in the 2nd week or something close to that. And then just after that weekend, it just all came crumbling down, and they just haven't looked the same since. They had everything, and then it was all taken away from them so quickly. Someone who it wasn't taken away from was Cerberus. They've put themselves back up into it. They're in that 5th spot, very close behind Fury, in firing range of that top 3 from Division X as well. So pretty pleasantly pleased with Cerberus at the moment.
Valix has got some lovely long locks there. Everyone else is groomed, and Valix has got his hair going down to his knees. It's going to be a Gackerfield circle here to close out tonight, which, judging by Buriram's current position, I think should suit them rather nicely. LG Divine, wouldn't be surprised to see them just crashing a team in phase 2 at some point. They're a bit more northern across the Rosok River. Here's our kill proportion, though, and that's a big 36% to 80, when everyone else is around that 30% mark, which I kind of put as the Goldilocks zone in terms of kill proportion. 30% is probably what you want your top fragger to be at. So maybe there's a bit too much for Edie, but who cares? If they're in 1st place with 98 kills, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who's getting the kills. It's just as long as you're getting them. And Edie has been the standout player throughout all of our PCS in terms of fragging. And he's always been up there with the top of the bunch. So absolute monster to have. And he has the highest damage portion as well for the team. So definitely holding it down and making life a little bit easier for Buriram.
The damage proportion, though, Long K leading the way there for Division X. Edie leading the way is again for Buriram. They've got the damage, they've got the kills, they've got it all. Can they get the event win, though? I will say this, with you know, including this one, 5 games to go, it feels like there's one last twist. Like, we're going to see LG Divine from the start tomorrow or something, and they're just going to like win 3 games or like something ridiculous like that. We haven't seen the best of Divine since probably like round 7. That was 13 rounds ago. They came out hot and heavy to start the event, but since then they cooled down in a flash. But we know they're kind of like a sleeping giant, what they're capable of. Their best is incredible. So much so that they can quickly blow away the competition once again if they go and get, you know, a win here, like a proper 10-kill win, and suddenly going into tomorrow, they could have like a 20-point gap.
That's right, and and they do start off their games pretty excitingly with taking breaches. Yes. They've started off their games with high kills, but they've just never really sort of got that late game favor that they did towards the earlier portions of the tournament. And that's kind of all it is, really. They've had the good starts, but they just haven't had the perfect circles to allow them to finish up the games.
And it's not a luck thing, you know, when you say like they haven't had the circles compared to say some of the earlier ones. At times they put themselves in really good positions. It's just, you know, that's just the nature of the game. If you can read the game and you can put yourself in the best place, that's going to give you the highest likelihood of getting the circle. Well, I mean, at that point, you're taking away the luck factor, because LG Divine, more than any team, is going to be a team that breaches and looks to get these compounds early on, phases 2 and 3. I mean, heck, we saw them breach a team for phase 1 tonight. So we'll see how they play it from here over at Loot Delivery. From the future, though, Mip and Zuzu, my favorite name. Currently 12th position. They've been stuck around 12th position for quite a while. 1 point behind Battle Arena Elites. They've shown some decent signs without being too amazing. But for a team that is completely different to the old From the Future roster, I think they've done pretty well for what is essentially their first outing for PCS in 2020 at this level. They've done all right. They've certainly been fighting very hard. You just zoom over Nordra and Canaxi.
From the Future have indeed been fighting very hard, and this sort of the mid pack is incredibly close. Like 10 points is all they need to put themselves up into 8. 1 point ahead of that put themselves into 7th. So as average as they seem in that 12th position, it's really nothing, like points wise. So for a team who's potentially having a bad tournament, only one game turns it around from being a bad tournament to a potentially really good tournament. So
yeah,
just keeping your head straight and keeping yourself in the game, that's realistically all you need to have that one outstanding game.
Quite going though for Erangel here for the final game of the day. Typically it's Miramar that has the slow nature play. I guess with Erangel, if it is generally over the Gaka fields, there is a lot more space available for teams. At times, even less rotations happening early on. Canaxi, though, here's Venotica. Now sees Venotica jumping around. That's an easy kill. Good start to the game for Buriram United Esports. And I mean, I sort of don't want to pile on here, but Venotica and Daytrade have just been not good enough in this PCS event for a team. I mean, they're in the bottom 3. This is a team that was competing top 5 in the earlier PCS events in the year. A team that, you know, a player like Venotica who's been praised heavily. And it's been a very poor showing from Daytrade Gaming.
Yeah, they just haven't been able to put the pieces of the puzzle on the board and figure everything out for themselves. Like we see here, losing that one player early is really big for majority of teams. If you're not that 4-man, you're playing with 3, it's kind of a completely different game. So having lost that one player early on, it can really hinder you moving forward in whatever game you're playing, really. And like it's the same for Bay as well. How many games have we seen them lose one player early on, and
yeah,
it's just sort of come back to bite them later on.
LG Divine on the rotation. For a team that is heavily involved in the early goings of matches on a very regular basis. The last couple of times, though, it hasn't quite gone their way. So much so in the very last match, they went out in last place. They are getting by through Angel Alliance for the most part. Levi's took a bit of chip damage. JN's at half health, but for the most part, they are successful. Now on to the second team, which is Unicorn Cyber. Very close here. Klee, okay, changes up the approach here. Does get the knock onto Jun. JN's down as well. So 2 for 1 at the moment. The MC did get Klee. 3 up here for Unicorn Cyber. The team down in last place versus the team up in second place. Best 1301 catches DMC with his pants down in the outhouse. And LG Divine 2 games in a row. They go out in last place. What is happening to this team that we saw win 5 of 7 to start PCS 3 APAC?
I think the pressure might be getting to them. At this stage, like you look at tonight, every single one of their games has been a first circle breach, and I don't think, apart from our first game, none of them have worked out. I think
I'm just bewildered. I'm sorry, but they just lost the fight to the team down in dead last. Subang doing probably what LG Divine should have done. Never mind, Cerberus are at 2. Unicorn Cyber, Danang, what is going on? 7 kills. They've just wiped out the team in second and the team in 5th. All right, I'll take back what I said. These guys are the real deal, apparently.
Yeah, Unicorn Cyber have really started to pull themselves back up. They haven't
the late comeback from Unicorn.
The late comeback indeed. Imagine if they, well, they've only got 2 people left at the moment, so it's probably not that likely for them. But even getting themselves off the bottom would be pretty big right now for Unicorn.
Man, what a game. What a way to close out day number 5. Well, it's up to you, Fury. It's up to you, Division X. Got to capitalize. This is it. I mean, again, like the last game, they would have seen it in the kill feed. They would have done homework, done the numbers, seen what they now need to do. The only thing is, Buriram United is in that first place, right? So, like, LG Divine are out. That's nice. That's cool. Usually that's good enough, but Buriram United with a 2-2 split, 2 over towards Chopsticks, 2 at the compound in Gakka Fields. Good position. It's going to be a good game from them. It's going to be difficult to catch up to them this game, but at the very least, if you can at least build on some ground to LG Divine, it's still something.
Absolutely. For the likes of Buriram, if they can close out in a 10-point game, or even if they close out with a win here, they could almost solidify their victory, right? Because Buriram has played so consistently. They never really have those 0-point games. They're always getting something. And if they can just keep on playing consistent, getting themselves maybe top 5 with a couple of kills, they could easily close out this tournament tonight with a big game.
Well, goodbye to Ronan. Goodbye to maybe the chances of Fury having a massive game here. At best, they can only get a handful of points to close out the day. And a very disappointing day as well, mind you. We do have an interview lined up with Fury to come after this tonight. I believe Waikik Mukau. We'll see if he's feeling up for it after really a day where they just weren't able to capitalize. And I think, and what it really does is puts everything onto that final day. Cerberus, amazing on Miramar, as the fact that they're out didn't get really anything from Erangel after picking up the first 2 chicken dinners tonight. Division X, though, with 4 up, and they are making headway closer towards LG Divine. 23 points behind them now. And they can be the team to capitalize. But it's Buriram who are the team that can really extend the lead now going into tomorrow. A team that really deserves the win and was my pick at the start of this tournament to win it, to close out 2020. And, well, it's shaping up to be a good one.
Absolutely. Buriram's just coming out on a whole nother level. Their level of consistency is clearly beyond everyone else's here. And it's really like, if you look from the outside in, that's what you should be striving for as a player, as a competitor. Just consistency over everything else.
Sixack's going to be knocked down by Nan. Fury just continue to just move around here in the Gakka Fields, and it just feels like it's a matter of time before another player is going to be knocked and finished off. Well, Insight is able to make it to the doubles, but this not even in, really. they are, it's by an inch. So it's a bit of a pit stop more than anything. There's 45 seconds. There's still a bit more time. They're going to have to be a little bit more aggressive than that here coming into this phase 3 circle. Magic Esport going past Buriram along with Angel Alliance as well. Over at the yellows towards Everest's base. Norrens is in there too for Day Trade. I mean, it's a kamikaze at the moment of vehicles. Magic Esport, Day Trade both just go past each other unscathed. Somehow no one dies in that exchange. I don't know how that's happened. There's 3-4 teams that just all went past each other.
Yeah, a bit of an interesting exchange as we now have 4 teams actually positioning themselves on and around the Everest Hill. Day Trade capitalizing onto some stragglers from Magic Esports. Fury, as we see on our screen, have pulled up on the south side of the field, being gate kept now by From the Future, who have actually left their compound to go back up the hill. So if Fury can capitalize on this and see that the compound
look at the
is
Buriram feed.
clear.
I'm sorry to cut you off there, but look at the map, ladies and gentlemen. That 2-2 split, Nordra Canaxi, they got a decision to make here as to whether or not they group up with Edie and God Meow, or if they hold this 2-2 split here for phase 4. They've got basically the 2 best positions, 1 and 2, locked up at the moment. And we do switch away from the Future, who are actually on the move. So they've disengaged from that fight to Fury. Fury also got into their vehicles and moving too. Day Trade from above. Sulaby's knocked on case, eliminated. Good nade from Flash. And in a Flash, Day Trade have got 2 kills. Puchil's still up along with Norrens. Flash will get another kill here. Umama, I think it's only Valix that's left standing. It is indeed at half health. Plenty of nades available for Flash as well. Chooses to go for the Molotov first and foremost. Never mind, he doesn't actually have any. Was maybe looking at the smokes there as Rabbit surely is going to be eliminated by Triple X. No, just gets over the hill, over to the other side, but Hexagon was waiting for him. Sulaby's up, and Valix and Sulaby can both heal now for Magic Esport.
Yeah, a little bit of space as we see the Ferox breach onto Bay's compound. It was a 4v3, now it is a 2v3, so Bay coming out on top right now with only 1 player left in Sweetsville, and he gets taken down. That is absolutely monstrous from Bay. This is the best fight we've seen from Bay in almost... So,
yeah,
really good job from them. Unluckily for Ferox, that's another rough game on the board for them.
Purple Mood, who have been a bit quieter today. A lot quieter today. After a really good weekend last weekend, going to fall into the trap of Sharper Esports. Never mind, it's a 1-for-1 trade. Not too bad. And Purple Mood still holding the numerical advantage here. Will they look to finish off 6 sacks? That is a yes. Kim Siver tonight. Last 2 for Sharper Esport. They got a decent 11-point gap over Angel Alliance. They'll stay in the top 8, you would think, at the conclusion of this game, regardless of what happens from here. Rocky Jims can't get that heal off in time. What a nade from Tanoi. Boss Sense is up against now. Los Santos, though, is going to be able to at least hold one angle. Tanoi, though, with a knockdown onto Los Santos. Boss Sense is currently by himself, standing, and now in a 1 versus 2. What a turnaround for Sharper Esports.
Yeah, a fight that you would have really expected to go in Purple Mood's favor, getting the opening knockout. Kim Siver has come back in with Tino and really sort of just brought it back. And Boss Sense is actually able to clean them up. So once again, we see the turnaround. Boss Sense coming in clutch with that big 1 versus 2.
They do lose a lot from that fight, though. They're going to have basically no positioning. Well, the 2 players of Purple Mood, but hey, winning the fight, you're going to be pretty happy with that against a pretty decent opponent as well in Sharper Esport. You got Victim Rise, though, slowly pushing towards this location. They've got 4 players up. It will be difficult for the 2 players of Purple Mood to get much more from this game. They're barely even inside of the circle. There's phase 5, though. The feed continues onto Buriram, and Goldmeow and Edie will now group up with Nordra and Canaxi. What a way to close the night off for Buriram United. Your direct competitor, again, falls by the wayside. They continue to struggle in the back end of this event, and Buriram can capitalize. They haven't really done so yet, only +3, but with the circle that they've got, you would think if it's not a win, it'll be still a decent point game from them.
Absolutely. This compound should almost definitely secure Buriram a top 5 minimum position. But even coming forward more, they control so much zone. If they can just hold here and then play up onto the hill later, they can potentially clean this game up and get the win, as Victim Rise is throwing a lot of their utility away at currently no one, as Purple Mood is halfway down the hill out of the attention of them at the moment. As Fury starts to make this play towards From the Future, Insight pulls up close. Waikika Mukau coming in even closer. Nade comes out. Beautiful nade on top of Triple X and will take him down. Gypsy Danger picks up Insight in trade and gets Waikika Mukau. It's all left up to Flood now. Flood, another seat swap from the young man, and he'll pick it up as well. Flood getting taken down on the sidelines by Mip and Zuzu, who gets taken down in return by Simon T.
Just dead bodies everywhere in the fields of Gatka. To no surprise to anyone, the young man Flood couldn't quite get the very important double there to stay alive. Ultimately, a couple kills, but just not the night for Fury really as a whole. 138 points. They really struggled tonight on a night where they really could have capitalized on the misgivings of LG Divine. Ultimately for Fury tonight was a 15th, a 12th, and a 10th, if you can believe it. Not a single placement point gained tonight. A couple of kills along the way, 2, 3, and 5. But anyway, moving on. Lawrence is definitely gone to this world. There might have been a second one there for Chibrit, realizing though he had been spotted. It's Flash who gets the knockdown. Victim Rise have still got 3 standing over here towards Everest, and Purple Mood are not pushing since they're only a duo. I think there's a very high likelihood that Chibrit can get revived here. And there's a very high likelihood that Buriram are going to get the win, I think, in this game. With the position they've got, 15 seconds until phase number 6. Unless it goes all the way out to the east, where there's a compound being held by Angel Alliance. Looking to finish strong. 2 hands is out. Now down to the final 8 teams. Placement points are on offer. The longer, though, that Division X stay alive, the better, considering LG Divine got nothing from this game.
And look at this circle as well. This could definitely lean towards a back-to-back win here for Angel Alliance on Erangel. Buriram still in their compound. Division X up against the wall. Multiple teams around them now. Genforce putting some shots on towards Boss Sense from Purple Mood. Needs to do a lot of work, does Victim Rise. They're kind of in a rough spot. I don't really know how they get themselves into this next zone and away from the eyes of Buriram and Angel Alliance.
As you mentioned, though, big opportunity for Angel Alliance to get 2 wins in a row. Could see them leapfrog Sharper Esport, get into the top 6. Division X have just been sideswiped. I think it's only Neil that's remaining. Fergus is going to get run over by Genforce. Victim Rise still just looking to get down the hill. Neil just driving around, looking to find a spot that is going to be safe. Doesn't find that spot. Is going to be eliminated. Division X unable to capitalize. They were in a very difficult position, edge of zone, and that blue was pressuring them. Teams inside of the circle already had the best positions. They weren't going to get much more from this game. It's Buriram, though. They're pulling away edge. They are doing what LG Divine should have been able to do a couple of rounds ago and pull away. 6 kills. 73% voted for LG Divine to win APAC. I think the 73% are going to be wrong.
Yeah, and Buriram picked up those 6 kills in a matter of not even a minute there on all rotating teams trying to get into the circle. So absolutely capitalizing on everything now, putting themselves 11 points above LG Divine. Now we're down into our top 5. You would surely think that Buriram can at least put themselves into a top 3 right now, especially because VTR not in the zone, Bay not in the best position. So it'll be all up to, I believe, Buriram and Angel Alliance to who will probably take out this win.
Of course, there is still 4 games to go. I don't want to count the chickens before they hatch, but it's just LG Divine need to turn things around themselves, really, at this point. Jukesy, good way to end at least the night for Bay, considering it was a really, really awful night from basically match 1 to match 4. Match 4, though, quite a bit better. 8 seconds till phase 7. Buriram have played this well, though. really well. It will be an interesting dynamic to see tomorrow how they deal with being the hunted. Because usually they're the hunter, right? Usually they're second or third. They're trying to chase down a team. Well, now they're going to have to try and hold this lead. It's not a massive lead, but actually pushing out to the shack, which is inside of the circle here. Angel Alliance probably still the team to beat, though, this game. Looking for that back-to-back chicken dinner, which will get them into the top 6. Victim Rise, I've got to say, commendable effort, considering they were top of Everest. Everest, I don't know why I say Everett. They've been fighting teams left, right, and center for the majority of this game, and yet somehow they've still got 3 players alive, pushing down Everest. They still have a very slender margin of a chance to get something else from this match. They've gotten to the top 4, though. A commendable effort. Somehow Loki's lands the headshot onto Samoy, who was moving at a pretty rapid pace. Shiver and Kamals are still up, though, for the time being, looking to just try and get into the fields, go prone, and snake their way. I think they might have gone too far, to be honest, and now it just gives more time for teams to shoot at them. And, well, the theatrics do come to an end there for Victim Rise. 4th place, 5 kills for Angel Alliance. Nan gets involved. Buriram with a 13-point gap now. It keeps building.
Definitely does, and this looks like Angel Alliance win. They're starting to push out of their compound now, starting to third party the fight between Buriram and Bay. Bay down to 2 players, one currently knocked out, so Jukesy won't be long left for this game, but he has had a good night, all things, well, a good last game, all things considering for the night. Nan will flush him out. Kanaxi looking for Loki's behind the car. Neverhawk proning very close. And Mad Dog coming up with this nade. This could be very big here. If this nade connects, it does connect. Kanaxi gets taken down. Angel Alliance might be able to push Buriram out of the game in 3rd place here.
I mean, they might even still also be able to get rid of Bay first, right? Because Bay's a bit closer to Angel Alliance than Buriram United is, which might give Nordred maybe a slim chance to get the revive of Kanaxi. Nan with a knock on the Loki to the rock. Obviously, no chance that he's going to get revived there. Nan just spots God me out the tree. Mad Dog's got the angle. Angel Alliance. They only picked up their first chicken dinner in match 19. They're going to pick up their second in match 20. It's a back-to-back potentially on the card. Still going to come through to the end. 9-kill performance, though, from Bay. Certainly leaving their best till last. Nordra and Kanaxi up against it. Ended up flashing himself at the shack here. Still a nade, 4 smokes. It's not like they're out of utility, but a big amount of damage gone onto Nordra there. Very low. Nades aplenty for Angel Alliance, and the pressure is just mounting ever more. Elo Patrick with a double nade. Neferhor to follow. 12-kill win for Angel Alliance. They're into the top 6.
Huge game from Angel Alliance there. They've really come alive in these Erangel games, and it's pretty solid to see, honestly. They capitalized and took a position that was left by Unicorn when they re-breached the compound, and it just worked out for them. They got the circles until the very end. They held their compound perfectly. They picked up kills left, right, and center, and they just played that late game perfectly as soon as Bay and Buriram started engaging and fighting each other.
Yeah, perfect end to the night for Angel Alliance. Back-to-back chicken dinners into the top 6. Obviously, it goes without saying they're too far in terms of competing for top spot. I mean, that's pretty obvious. 129 points. They're only 5 points behind Cerberus, 9 points behind Fury. Top 5 is a very realistic opportunity for Angel Alliance. Cannot believe I'm saying that there. The Philippines team has just been amazing. The story really of the season with how good they have been. They've had a second, a fourth, a third, and then now 2 games in a row, they get back-to-back wins. And as you said, turning their fortunes around on Erangel as we close out tonight. Had it all, really, in all of the games, let alone this match. As we see the highlights, feel like we saw, as I said, a bit of everything on both Miramar and Erangel. We have a leader, Buriram, 14 points clear of LG Divine, who just can't seem to find their groove. Tonight, 6th, 11th, 16th, and 16th. Horrific night from them.
Yeah, it definitely hasn't been the greatest of nights. They did start off with a couple of kills in their games, but they just haven't been able to put the pieces together here like a lot of our other teams. We've got Buriram, who have who have just cleared up and cleared a little bit of a lead for themselves now, something that they've never had in a PCS tournament to date.
Yeah, and I think one of the things I brought up in the match particularly was they're the hunted now. They used to being the hunted. They used to being the team at second, third, sometimes fourth as well, where they're catching up with, 4, 5, 6 games remaining. They're trying to do the desperate maneuvers. But in this case now, they're the hunted. They might have teams hot drop them. They might have teams, gatekeep them. They might have teams try and block off rotations. And they got to be ready for that tomorrow night, that they're enemy number one, most certainly. And it's not like LG Divine are really all that far away. 14 points, it's not much, right? They bring their best, which we've seen at the earlier stages of this tournament, and they can overtake that deficit in one game. And we've got 4 games to get through. So we definitely can't crown them winners yet, but they are by now the heavy favorites, that is for sure, because from the matches we've seen, nothing suggests that LG Divine are going to turn things around.
No, it doesn't look that way, especially with LG Divine going out in 16th, 15th position. Like, they're putting up a good showing on their first breach, but then it's really not working out for them. I would just like them to play maybe that little bit safer, probably a little bit more conservative in their play style, and just try and play to stay alive. They're playing a little bit too risky, I think, for the stage of the game, the tournament at the moment.
You can see the match leaderboard there, though. Number 1, Angel Alliance, 22 points. Just good to see. Brings a smile to your face. It's always nice to root for the underdog. And well, they haven't really been playing like an underdog, though, to be fair, throughout this tournament. That's one thing they've been quite consistent from start to finish. I think it was night number 2. They did let up a little bit. It was actually, they went a 14th, a 13th, a 15th, and a 4th. So they did let up a little bit on night number 2, but since then they've been pretty much perfect. Here's the total leaderboard, though. Buriram United for Chicken Dinners, first place, 14 points. But as I said, still 4 games to come tomorrow night. It's not over yet, but LG Divine need to find the form that they once had at the beginning of the tournament. Division X Gaming still thereabouts, 36 point. That's the deficit for them. 4 games to catch up. Can they do it? We'll have to wait and see. Kill Point says they can keep up. Placement Point says no. They need to start finding wins. They need chicken dinners. And the same can be said as well for Fury. Not enough wins, not enough placement points, and that's why they're kind of down in the dumps at the moment. 40 points behind Buriram United. Cerberus as well, 44 points behind Buriram United. That's our top 5, and that top 5 are pretty close to Angel Alliance, Sharper Esport as well. Down to the right-hand side of the bracket, though, Unicorn Cyber keep getting closer to Ferox. It's only 9 points down there in the bottom 2. A little bit better in some cases from both of those 2 teams, actually. Daytrade in 3rd last is sort of the anti-Angel Alliance to this story of this season. A team that, for those unaware, Daytrade Gaming is usually in the top 5, 6, 7 teams in PCS 1 and 2, and yet now they're in the bottom 3. Not sure what's been going wrong there, but it hasn't been good.
Yeah, that's right. And for likes of Hydra Gaming and From the Future, I feel like they've had little bits of sparks where they've shown that they're capable, but realistically, it just hasn't been enough. Hydra has picked themselves up from the bottom of the scoreboard and put them sort of into that middle-ish pack. They can definitely gain points and potentially even put themselves towards the top 8 area, as it's incredibly close. But they just need to pick it up just that slight little bit.
They certainly do. For those unaware, we're pretty much done for the day, but we do have an interview to come very, very shortly with Waiki Kamukau from Fury. So if you want to stick around and listen to that, which apparently it's going to be ready now, stay tuned as we introduce Waiki Kamukau from Fury, which... I mean, I swear, every time we do these interviews, it's always the bad nights. I think maybe we shouldn't schedule them anymore. Not the best of nights, mate. It didn't go really well from really match number 1 to match number 4.
Yeah, no, we got a little bit duped, I reckon, with some of the zones that we were given. We obviously got lucky with a lot of phase 1s, and we had 2 lost zones, one just to the northwest of Yaz towards Severny. But then we found ourselves kind of just having to chase the circle from about phase 3 onwards, and then us a little bit of individual mistakes, maybe just like needing to slow it down a little bit, and then we would have been all right, I think.
Yeah, that's right. I think first of all, love the beard. It looks really good on you, mate.
Oh, it looks
And
yucky.
and secondly, secondly, what's the plan for tomorrow? You've got 4 games left. You're a fair margin behind. What do you still think you can do it, or what's happening?
Yeah, I mean, like, what do we like? I don't know, like, a fair bit. It's like 40 points, I think, to like Bruce. It's gonna be like ridiculously tricky. We didn't give ourselves like a really great platform to work with leading into tomorrow. I don't know. We're just gonna have to like just see how it goes. We're gonna have to pull out like 3 wins or something like that, and Bruce's gonna have to have a rough night, which we know is, you know, that's not really how they roll. So we'll have to see how we go.
That's what I wanted to sort of ask you about. There was actually Buriram United, right? You know, easy to sort of ask you the internal questions, but I just kind of want your own thoughts on them as a team, considering you've played against them for the entire year, basically from Charity Showdown to now PCS 3. In a way, if you do in fact lose to them, is it less bittersweet considering they haven't won at all this year and they've always been kind of like you guys, close but not being able to win?
I mean, I'm gonna get shot for saying this, but mate, if I lose to Divine again, I ain't having it. Brew are an amazing team. So if they do win, they well and truly deserve it. They've always been at the top of the leaderboard. I'd much rather lose to to Brew than I would Divine.
Final thoughts before I let you go. I mean, as sort of Edge alluded to, maybe first might not be too achievable. We've both seen enough PUBG in the past, though, to know funny things can happen if lightning strikes and you have some really, really big wins. Looking forward, though, to 2021, is it a bit early to ask that sort of question, or is there, I guess, already a bit of an idea around the team as to what's going to be happening there?
Nah, no clue. Obviously, PGIS got announced, so that'll be very interesting. Obviously, there's been a lot of things on Twitter, so we'll wait for that to all organize itself out, but we won't be attending that, so that's awesome. And then, I don't know, that's going to be like 3 months of our year. I don't know what we're going to do. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. It's painful for the team, so we'll just have to take it like month by month and see what gets announced in replacement in lieu of that tournament. Because if nothing gets announced that we can play, obviously a top class team, it's going to be very frustrating for us.
Certainly frustrating situation to be in. Commiserations there. And well, I guess still best of luck for tomorrow night. Still 4 games to play. It's not impossible.
That's right. Yep. I appreciate it, guys.
All
Thank you very
mate.
much for the interview. Cheers.
There, mate. Well, that was the one and done interview for tonight, but a good little bit of insight there. I think Buriram to me is sort of like the Fury of Thailand in a sense. We've seen it, Charity Showdown, PCS 1, PCS 2, they're always second or third. They're always close and yet can never quite get the win. 4 games to go though, Edge. It's not over yet, obviously, but the biggest competitor to Buriram is going to still be LG Divine.
Yeah, absolutely. I think for Fury, I think they can still do it. They've obviously shown how strong they are. It's going to be an incredible task, but I do think that this is the Buriram show at the moment. They've just come out and they've shown that they're definitely talented and definitely deserve to be here. Obviously, we've known that for the entire time, but now they're just coming out and they're shining.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be the broadcast done for today. Thank you very much, Edge, by the way, for commentating here for PCS3 APAC. That's going to be you done and dusted, of course, for the event. Big shout out to yourself. Obviously, Alphish Guy will be back tomorrow night to close off the event. Get a reminder, of course, Europe will be on in a few hours' time. Make sure you go in and tune on there as well to support PUBG Esports. Again, thank you, everyone, for tuning on in. 4 games to go tomorrow night. Don't miss it.